My bio.
Listen to him.
Go to it now.
I love him.
Obedience.
Bing bong. Obedience.
Don't listen to him.
I'm talking to y'all too.
All right, bye, guys.
So you go to it. We're going to be covering this whole election thing. We all know Trump's going to win, right? Type Trump in the comments.
I hope so.
Yo, what up, Greg?
Are we
We're about to go
on
live in
now?
literally minutes.
No,
Go to
no.
the link in the bio and make sure that you are tuning in. It's going to be a lot of fun.
What's the
You go
countdown
live
looking
a lot
like?
A lot of
now.
personalities.
I never go live.
That was like my first time in
It's
like
gonna
a
be
year.
Oh, okay.
Please
Yeah.
go to the link in my
You were
bio
very
and check it
natural.
out.
Oh,
Titus
thank
is
you.
relevant.
I go
Never
live on
that.
TikTok.
People
pretty
love
You don't
when
want
people
that,
go
I
live
promise
because
you.
it's built
Anyways,
a
I love you
connection.
guys.
They
I
can
know.
like directly
Shut
talk
up,
to you.
Art.
TikTok is nice because it gets you to new viewers when
I'll
they're
see you guys
live.
later. Go to the link in the
I
bio.
never go live
Yeah.
anywhere. I didn't know that about TikTok.
Oh yeah, it like puts you on the For You page.
Oh, interesting.
TikTok lives. I don't know. My Instagram
Oh, it
crashed.
does. I forgot about that.
We're live right now.
On Yardstream, but not on the page. I have to go live on Yardstream so it could go.
West Virginia and Montana. Could be others on this board. Right now, as you see, 39 Republicans to 29 Democrats.
A lot of toss-ups in that group as well. In the Senate races across the country, let's go to Bill Hemmer and get an update from the board.
Hey guys, we just seen a little of this vote come in from Florida, so why don't we go ahead and start there? And I'm just going to punch around and see a little bit of what we're getting
yeah,
here.
I'm live too.
We know the turnout was
Yes.
big. We know Republicans,
Good thing there's
based
no
on some of
audio.
the early
I would
voting and
actually get in the
voting
chat with
today
my-
was pretty decent here, but 8% of the statewide votes. This is Duval
Now
County,
there's audio.
Jacksonville. I haven't seen this
Yo,
yet.
what's
Just
up,
go ahead
guys?
and- So you got about 2/3 of the vote coming in Florida
Sounds
right now.
on.
Florida
Keeps
counts
tripping
fast,
me.
by
I
the
don't
way.
think it's live
The
online.
early votes, they rack it up. And so right here in Duval County, you got Kamala Harris leading.
Is it
Are
live?
we
I
live?
tell you what we
Yes,
do.
we
Why don't
are.
we do
At least
this?
on my
It's very
channel.
interesting because
Gio,
one
are
of the
we
first
live?
times in a long time, in anybody's memory, I guess,
they're-
going back to
they're-
FDR, the late 1800s,
we're live over
we've
here.
got
Three
a
of us
candidate on the
are.
ballot where you can compare the
live.
Yeah,
number
we're
from
live.
4
All right,
years
we're
ago
live.
and compare the number from 8 years ago. So we're going to do this a lot throughout the night. We'll get a
Fox
measure
is on.
about how
How do we turn the Fox audio off? All right.
Yeah, it's on.
Okay. Well, we're figuring this out.
Just hold on.
Just
We're new to
having
this, you guys.
Technical problems.
We're
Give us
fig-
like 2 minutes.
This is a first time doing this type of setup.
This looks really good, though.
Does
looks
it?
amazing.
I'm watching it right now.
Really? It looks
I'm like, let me
amazing.
just watch us and not actually say
I
anything.
look kind of good right now. That's all that's
Oh my gosh.
We just have to get the Fox.
We just got to get the Fox audio off.
Hello, everyone. Yeah.
No, on the live
Oh,
stream
it's
it's on.
delayed, that's why. There's like a 10-second delay.
Yeah.
Turn off.
Yeah, we can hear you guys now, right?
Yeah. All right, so we are going to assume that we're on because I think we are.
No, don't talk anymore because the Fox is on and it's really annoying sounding.
No,
it's
it's
off.
off.
Oh,
It's
okay.
off now.
Okay, we're good.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
All right. Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
We are still getting this set up. This is the first time we've ever done this. We are out of the America First Healthcare corporate office here, and we have been together for this entire weekend. We've had great debates, conversations,
Yeah.
and we're so blessed to have Titus, Clarkson, and Collie here. And we're going to be on here for the first hour and a half. And then the second hour and a half, we're going to be bringing on Xavier, Emily Saves America, and also Lou Hawley. So we are going to be reacting live with you guys as the states are coming in. And I don't know, how are you guys feeling right now? Because
I think we have some mixed feelings on this panel right here. I'm like, up until this week, I was overconfident. I said, it's without question, he's got this in the bag. Donald Trump is going to win. And then certain people gave me some doubt.
Looks at me. It's fine. I don't know. I think what it's going to come down to is, one, if Kamala was able to distance herself from the Biden administration well in the eyes of the voter, and two, if people hate Trump enough still to vote against him. Because that's really what made him lose the 2020 election, was that he was so popular that when you're that popular, you have so many people that hate you.
Yeah.
So do their struggles right now under the Biden administration outweigh their hatred for Donald Trump? Or is it going to be a repeat of 2020?
yeah, I know. That's I think a lot of us have PTSD, and whether you believe the election was stolen or not, I think what we all can agree with is that we were like, what I don't want to see is the water pipes start breaking, and then we have to wait a whole another week, and then whether the election was stolen or not, and I believe that it was, but regardless of whatever side of the debate that you're on, it's horrible for our country at the same exact time.
Wait, we're not talking about 2020 election, YouTube. Don't take that video
yeah.
down.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, we're just thinking.
Yeah,
about
we're just
our
talking
thoughts.
about
Well,
election.
I mean, YouTube actually is chill with you talking about it now because it's past
not on
tense.
mine, so be careful.
Are you serious?
Yes,
We love
We're
you
on
too.
each other's YouTube.
Well, got demonetized.
on their guidelines, they should be.
Yeah.
But,
I just had to go through a whole training on it.
Really?
You can't talk about stolen elections, so
We don't think the
maybe
election
they're
was
talking about
9
what's
minutes.
coming up here.
Yeah,
That's probably
okay.
what they mean.
But Collie,
But-
how are you feeling right now?
I'm very nervous. I feel like we're screwed either way because I think if Trump wins, they're going to flip out and try and collapse the country under Trump because they want to point at him and say, look, it's a failure. Look at all you Trump supporters. You voted for him. You guys are unsafe and put us into World War III. But I also think that if he loses, they're going to put him in prison. So
You do?
Yeah, if he loses, they're going to put him in prison.
Clarkson, you think that they?
I mean, I do think that he will most likely end up in prison if
Yeah.
he loses.
Really? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if they'll continue to target him, unless of course he steps out of politics. I think that if he loses and he finally just, hangs the shoes up and throws in the towel, I feel like the indictments will start to subside. In the same way that the GOP stopped going after Biden once he stopped being the candidate.
So true. Do you? What do you think? I mean, and now we're talking from a negative perspective here. So Trump loses. What does that look like for the Republican Party? I mean, do you think that he does still try to stay the front leader? Do you think that other leaders will kind of take that place? Will Trump still have a hand and control over the GOP?
I think he's done.
I don't know. I mean,
I think-
the Trumps will, for sure. I mean, look at Lara Trump. She's already working at the RNC, so I think so. But I think that's really the age-old question is, does the party move to the more populist, like Trump made it, or does it end up moving more to the right when Trump exits? And I think that even us on this panel might want different outcomes for that. But it's tough to figure that out, I guess. Right. And I mean, even if he wins 2028, what happens? What does the Republican Party look like? Is it the unity party or is it the party of conservatism?
You think his kids will start running for office, or you think more of like the DeSantis's?
I think that there will.
It ain't gonna be DeSantis. I feel like.
No, I feel like they'll stay involved in politics. I don't know. I feel like I could see Ivanka getting involved just because she was involved in this first administration. And she's a really bright girl, so I'm sure she would get involved. But I don't know. I wouldn't know definitively because I don't know them. But yeah.
I think he said he's done after this. He said, I'm not going to try and run again. If I lose, that's it. But like you said, Laura Trump is like involved with the RNC and all that stuff. So I think the Trumps will have a part to play, but I don't think it'll be as big as the MAGA movement with Donald Trump heading it. I don't think it'll be. I think they'll probably try and go back to what it was.
Which is really interesting because
Trump won Indiana.
Yeah, did that just
came in?
You already declared it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Can we get Fox on really quick?
That was quick.
They're already calling.
Yep.
Among
states.
black
Trump
voters
won
and
Indiana.
their support
Thank
for
you,
Kamala Harris.
Indiana voters.
While strong, she is below where Biden was in 2020, 4 years ago. This number for Biden was more like 91. So she's running about 8 points behind where Biden was with the black vote in Georgia in 2020. All right, I have another data point where I'm going to combine this with gender, okay?
Kentucky
so now you look at the black male voter in Georgia. We know both candidates have spent a lot of time courting them there. Democrats have been trying to convince them that they could be better for the economy. Trump has been trying to woo those voters. Remember, inflation's more than 20% in that state. With black men, Harris is at 73%, Trump at 25%. Let me give you perspective and context on that. Joe Biden in 2020 had this number at about 87%. Okay, so right now she's running about 13 points with black men behind where Joe Biden was in 2020. All right, another data point there, Brett, because I know you asked.
We were just talking about this.
Yeah, it's black men.
Yeah.
They will be the death of Harris if they don't turn out for her.
Yeah, we will. We don't like you, Dumbo.
Well,
Forgot you're black.
Hey,
well, right now we got 19 delegates for Trump, 3 for Harris. I know Kentucky has gone in for Trump so far. So has Indiana. And I think 1% have already come. I mean, only 1 or 2% for Georgia.
Now remember, every station calls it differently. So this is what Fox News is called.
Correct.
So CNN could probably have 3 and 3 still right now.
Very true.
Yes, because they don't want they want people to get out and vote, but this is also, there's manipulation happening with the mainstream media as well.
Speaking of CNN, this happened just about 45 minutes ago. Chris Wallace, you guys know Chris Wallace used to be on Fox and now is on CNN. And he said it would be a miracle if Kamala wins with the numbers that are coming in right now. And that was literally 45 minutes ago.
don't say things like that.
I
You
know.
get me all hype.
I'm not.
And I'm like super pumped. And then
I don't want
to.
to. I don't want. Obviously, I do not want to freak out about it. And then the Decision Desk HQ for Interactive Polls actually just called South Carolina, which that was already.
Yeah, that wasn't really a question.
That wasn't really a question. Yeah. I think it's gonna. With Georgia, obviously too early to call is what Fox is saying. I think the question is are men gonna vote? What is typically your guys? Clarkson, obviously you have a following that's so interesting because with your social media, you probably have the most left. You have the most left people that are following you than probably some of our pages.
Right.
So I mean, what have the people that you've been talking to from your community been saying?
Straight men do not want to vote for Kamala. And I've got, because I have, it's very weird. My following is like, there's this fitness following that follows me of like a lot of like straight gym bros. And then, which I don't know why, because I'm like the gayest person ever.
You're a gym bro.
But,
You're a
and
gym
then
bro.
there's the gay men who typically swing for Kamala. But
It's Kamala.
Kamala.
Honestly, I don't know what
Don't
it
be
is.
racist now, Clarkson.
I know.
You're a white man, even though you're gay.
I know.
Doesn't
I know.
mean you
I
get
got to remember my skin color. That's always the first thing.
don't
So
forget
I don't
that
know.
privilege.
I mean, I feel like in my personal life, and this is entirely subjective, that I don't see straight men going for Harris like they did Biden.
Yeah,
I just don't see it.
that makes sense.
No, he's completely. She has no support with men, really. That's why, especially black men. That's why Obama had that whole video where he was trying to gaslight men into voting for her. Hey, I know, life has really sucked for you the last 4 years, and she's done nothing for you other than lock you up, like Vernon Jones said.
Yeah.
But still do it anyway.
Yeah.
Go vote against your own personal interest because she's a black woman, and it'd be like, amazing for society to finally elect a black woman.
Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh, what state are you? And it looks like we just got the first
batch from Georgia.
Batch
I'm curious
from
as to
Georgia.
what county that's coming in.
51% right now. Hey, Harris, 4,000
Kentucky.
votes, only 3% in. Man, Georgia's the state that we got to watch, and this is honestly nerve-wracking.
So the Kamala camp has been saying that there's going to be a red mirage. So we're going to see what it looks like a Trump win, just like in 2020.
Right.
And then it's going to reverse it within the next few days. They even mentioned days.
that what
They
they're
didn't say,
saying?
yep. Within the next few days, as the rest of the mail-in ballots come in, it'll reverse to being a Kamala win. So I'm feeling like if we don't hear the results tonight, that it's going to be a Kamala Harris win.
I agree
Yeah.
with that. If he doesn't win by a large enough margin, the mail-in ballots will swing to
Yes.
Kamala for sure.
Yeah, another thing, Dana Bash, she is concerned that Kamala Harris may have not had enough time to introduce herself to the American people. Which
Well,
again,
she had 4 years, and we.
Honestly, I disagree with that. I think that if she would have been pushed in as the nominee, which I don't even know if this is possible with the funding and the DNC, but I feel like the momentum for her after she replaced Biden, if she were to run like a month after that, she would have won. Because it was so strong when she replaced him.
So true.
but
you
it
think
died
that she
down.
actually had too much time?
I do.
Yeah.
Because
Because
she's
that-
not a good enough candidate.
Yeah.
So like she didn't get the voters hype she's not an Obama candidate where when she goes on stage and speaks, everybody's like, oh my God. Like
amazing, yeah.
I feel something when she speaks. People don't feel that with her. So I
She
think
just a
that
sane canned speech.
the time worked against her.
What do you think was some of the big mistakes that the Trump campaign made over the last 2 or 3 months that might have hurt him? I know obviously the big thing right now is
Tony Hitch-
the comedian that came off with the Puerto Rico joke. Is there anything that you think that's
The
happened?
Haitian migrants,
The Ha-
that
what-
thing was a pretty big deal
What was that?
when it was proven that they weren't
the
actually eating
Springfield,
cats and
Ohio.
dogs.
The Springfield, Ohio thing.
The Springfield.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
the thing is, there was someone who was.
They
It
just
just
were- they
wasn't.
were a
they
citizen.
weren't. Yeah,
Yeah,
they were.
they were a
Unfortunately,
citizen.
we have some crazies
were
in
they-
our own
or were
town,
they
you know?
actually
They
citizens?
were a
Yes.
citizen. Yeah, she was on drugs.
Yeah.
I think. So I think that
But
really.
it was coincidental that came out at the same time that the
Right.
rumor came out. It was like,
Right.
oh my gosh.
I think it discredited a lot of his campaign. I also don't like that a lot of his solutions for the economy, especially when he was debating, he would just refer back to immigration.
Yeah.
And I think that to the voter, like, yes, immigration's a problem, but it seemed like he was deflecting
Yep.
a little bit on the economy. And I don't know if the voters are going to respond to that, but everybody trusts the Republican Party with the economy anyway. So I don't know if that really worked
Well,
against him.
also when it comes to that, like she was also deflective during the debate. She didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I come from a middle class family, so even if he was deflecting and not fully answering the question, it's like she didn't provide any sort of like good economic plan to her. It's like, oh, well, now I'm shifting to her because of it.
I will say during that debate though, I was like, Trump is losing this
Oh
debate.
yeah,
Oh,
she
yeah,
she
I
was
felt
cooking.
like
She got
she
under
was-
his skin.
Yeah.
She was
She was
cooking.
on the offense the whole time.
She got the question.
Trump Trump forgot all of his talking points, but he could only go back to immigration and the border.
Yeah.
And you're right, she got underneath the skin, which I'm like, oh my gosh, he's losing this debate.
And the moderators
and
were
we thought that,
helping.
and we thought he was going to cook her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was going to be a bloodbath on the debate. Don't January 6th me, just joking.
So you know
I think,
there was
I think it threw him off though. I think he didn't expect her to sound as competent as she did.
He could have used the moderators being biased to his advantage in that debate, but he was so triggered that he didn't see the opportunity.
He didn't.
He
I
could
know.
have victimized himself and actually prepared for that debate, but instead he got triggered. And in the eyes of like a swing voter, and I consider myself an independent, watching him let her get under his skin like that makes me worried about foreign leaders getting under his skin. So it makes me think that, oh, well, maybe this man isn't as strong and tough when it comes to his ego being pushed. And I think that a lot of voters saw that. But Harris's interview after that was such a train wreck that it's like, it just balances
Which
itself
one?
out.
That's why it's
Somebody-
so important who surrounds him, because the thing is, we're voting for an administration, not just a
Right.
president. So when Donald Trump obviously has some weaknesses, but
Yeah.
let's just hope he gets a really good cabinet around him to make up for those weaknesses. And I don't think he had that as last time, and I hope that he's learned his lesson to get more trustworthy. And I think bringing in Elon, bringing in,
RFK,
RFK.
Tulsi.
Well,
that's
that
gonna
really
be-
helped him.
Yeah.
Like so many people, like Zachary Levi was like, I'm a huge RFK fan. I wanted to vote for him, but because
Mm-hmm.
he's supporting Trump, and he thinks that's the best, course for the country. So do I. And a lot of people I feel like shifted that. Like
Well,
a lot of
who did take, going back to your point, who did take advantage of going after the commentators and calling out their bias was JD Vance. When
Correct.
Vance
beast.
when Vance was on,
And he was respectable to Waltz.
He was respectable. Yeah, they actually had a great conversation. Like I'm like, man, these kind of look
Other
like
than
two
Waltz.
presidents that are, yeah. But
Every 5 seconds.
but he does. I will say, Waltz, when he was at his debate, he spoke way different than when he was on a campaign trail.
Yeah.
Campaign trail, he comes out really goofy. Where when he was on his debate, he like has this deep manly voice.
He was with
and-
JD.
It's like if I were to do a debate, I'd be like, "Hello, guys."
I'm straight now.
Yeah, like I actually denounce my sexuality.
Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
shoot. I don't think not JD Vance. I don't think Tim Walz. I mean, he denounces his Christianity every chance he gets, except for when it's convenient. Like when he says, "I don't talk about my faith a lot, but Matthew something talks about the least of these." I'm like, bro, what? And then 2 seconds later, he's talking about abortion. I'm like,
Yeah,
I have a hard time, and maybe Clarkson, you might even be able to speak more to this. Like, I have a hard time when people are taking the religious route on the left. Like, to me,
because traditionally it's like
well,
a
just
thing.
like I mean, abortion is like something that is obviously one thing, but like it's hard for me to see someone that can be a Democrat that could be for abortion. I mean, honestly, even when it comes to the trans issue, like again, this is something that if you're a biblical Christian, you don't believe in that, and that doesn't align with your values and what Scripture says. And I mean, have you, with a lot of your followers, do they identify as Christian, but then they can is it more like majority of your followers on the left would be more atheists?
I think there's definitely more atheists on the left, but I think it's a different view of Christianity and religion in of itself. And I'm not a Christian, so obviously
Right.
you guys will disagree with this, but I think from their point of view, they look at their faith as something that needs to be worked on in their personal lives without using government power to enforce it, I guess. And that's where they draw the distinction. I don't think necessarily Democrat Christians believe in these things. They just don't believe in using the power of government to enforce them. And I mean, if I was a Christian, I don't know if I would agree with that stance,
Right.
but I understand where they're coming from.
I wish I thought that's how I would have more respect for them if I thought that's what they actually felt. But I feel like they just use that because traditionally throughout, like, since the beginning, like it's always been like the leader is always like a Christian. I feel like the president has always been like claimed to be a Christian, and then, like if like it's like traditional, like, oh yeah, he's a man of God, he is a family man, he's this. So yeah, like that makes you more him. The defenses go down of him just being like some potential danger or threat or whatever because he's this family man who's like has his kids and he's like loves God and he goes to church.
Right.
I feel like when you have that image, it's just a positive image in our culture. Or at least it was. I mean, it's
Right.
slowly
Yeah.
shifting, but like so I feel like that's what they do because none of them actually like from what they promote and preach like would ever acknowledge something to be like that to be okay or fight for it. Even make it like a massive talking point. Like Kamala Harris is like a lot of people are voting for her just because of the abortion issue.
Yeah.
And she can't even do anything about it. It's to the states.
Yeah.
And so like it's I don't think a Christian would be willing to like
I think we're also having to
pivot on
face
that.
issues in society that we never really had to face until the last like 20 years.
Yeah.
And so we're all trying to
moving very
navigate
quickly.
it. And like the Democrats and Republicans of the 90s were not voting on these issues really, especially like late term abortions or even when Roe v. Wade passed, it was safe, legal, and rare. That was like the
Yeah.
whole thing about it was it's going to be safe, legal, and rare. And that's, unfortunately, a lot of abortions aren't safe, especially the abortion pill nowadays. People are taking it. You can even get it without a real prescription.
Right.
And then also it's not rare anymore.
Yeah.
It's very. I mean, black people aren't even replacing their own population. They're having so many abortions.
Well, I think
And-
Roe versus Wade.
Yeah.
That hurts.
It's kind of like most topics, though, and just the left in general. The left in general they're not just. I mean, the Republican today was the Democrat 30 years ago.
Yes.
And-
I think that's a natural progression, though.
Yeah.
I think that Republicans or conservatives, I think that's a better term to use for it, they're conserving what they grew up with. And as the times change, people become more conditioned to change as the world changes. And I think that what conservatives are actually fighting for is slower change in society, whereas liberals are
Progressives.
just
Yeah,
progressives.
they're called
Well,
Yeah.
no, liberals too. I
Yeah.
mean, liberals are more open, but
Yeah.
progressives want they assume that society is progressing forward. But liberals are just very open to change, and that's the definition of it. So they're a lot more naive when it comes to some of the changes that have a net negative impact.
Right.
And that's also the problem is we don't define things as clearly as they should, because being a conservative has turned into something so much more than being a conservative 20 years ago. Because when I am, an understanding for me is that you just believe in the founding principles of this country and conserving them. It doesn't mean we need to go back to 1900 and live like that. But I think we have some incredible, I think the Constitution is incredible. But then there's this whole push on the left to get rid of those founding principles.
Right.
Well, right now, this just came in 9 minutes ago. CNN's Georgia exit poll reveals that Trump is winning the independent vote by 11 points.
Wow.
In 2020, Joe Biden won independents by 9 points. So and independents make up 31% of the voters. So right now, at least for Georgia, it is looking much better. I mean, because again, and honestly, the question is how much does RFK have to do with that? Because if RFK would not have, I mean, he was
endorsed him. Yeah,
I think his endorsement was bigger than Joe Rogan's. I think it was.
I don't know, because looking at the exit polling, people do not like him.
RFK.
Yeah,
but I think in that 3 or 4%.
Yeah, that might have made the switch.
Right. I mean, you were aligning more with RFK than Trump just until obviously RFK got that endorsement. How many more people in that align with more of those values might have made that extra push?
I think it's a good question. It just depends on whether or not those voters have a strong, seething hatred for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Or if they don't.
I think so. And for the ones that do you think they go Kamala, or do you think they just don't vote?
Oh, that's tough. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I would love to pretend like I know, but
some of them might just be like, I'm voting for RFK. Like I'm voting for Trump, but I'm voting for RFK because he's endorsed him.
I know a lot of RFK voters that are moving to Kamala.
Really?
Yeah. But I also know a lot that are moving to Trump.
Sorry. You guys got to speak up a little bit.
Okay.
It's quiet?
Okay.
A little low.
Oh, really?
Sounds good.
Sorry about that, guys.
We're sorry, we're quiet.
We will be louder.
Or just get more into
Can you
the
turn
mic.
the volume all the way up? Are you all the way up, volume-wise?
You don't want to. Just let us know how the sound is, guys. And thanks for the feedback on that.
Let me go to the
And if there are any comments, by the way, of questions, feel free to put any questions in the comments. We can't see them, but our team that is amazing in the back, they will let us know if you have any questions, or because we would love to answer them. And I know that we're blessed to have Clarkson and Kali and Titus all here.
You know what makes me happy about this election, though, that I just keep focusing on, because I'm very stressed about it, but I love that there's so many people that are voting for Trump.
Yeah.
I love that there's so many people in this country that have seen past all of, I mean, imagine the campaign they've done against him. And yet there's still like over 80 million people that are gonna vote for him because they see past all of the lies.
Well, for me, it's even it's even culture. Like today, I wore this shirt. It has a big Trump shirt on the Trump picture on the back, at MAGA hat, without being in fear that I would get beat up.
Yeah.
Versus 2016, I wasn't putting on the hat.
Yeah.
Like the only way I would ever wear a hat that said "Make was at a rally where I knew I wouldn't get beat up, but I would be scared in whatever city. Like, is this person looking at me weird? Where now I wear it without even thinking, because culturally.
Okay.
I think, and we talked about this earlier, Clarkson, that culture is starting to move more right,
to the right,
because it just wants to confront the norm or what is
right. Yeah, I mean, I think that it went so far to the left. It's just natural that there's going to be a reaction the other way. It's just how far does it swing? I think that's the important question.
Early reporting is showing 1 minute ago that Donald Trump is ahead of the electoral and popular vote. Right now, we have Harris at 2.9 million. And Trump at 3.5.
That's crazy.
Which is pretty crazy as of right now.
I want to know what counties they have coming in from Georgia.
That's the big thing.
Yeah.
And probably, I just pray to God that we don't have the whole have to wait 2 or 3 or 4 days to find out.
I just don't trust it when that happens. I immediately get skeptical. Like, even if there's nothing wrong, even if nothing sketchy actually had happened,
it's not good for the country to not get results on election night.
Yeah, it's just like, I always am gonna have a seat of doubt on whether things were legit or not. Even if they were, I'm just gonna be like, why? Like, this has never been an issue really, and we don't have the pandemic excuse anymore. So like, why are things not?
Right.
Everything's
the good
not mail-in
news
voting.
is they've always said that Democrats historically they mail their votes more than Republicans. Well, the early mail-in voting was showing a heavy Republican there are more Republicans voting mail-in. So they can't really switch it up
Right.
because it's not like all Democrats decided to mail theirs today. It's like everyone's mailing theirs at different times,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And to have it switch from, oh, it's all Republicans mailing in to all of a sudden Democrats mailing in, that's going to look really fishy.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Democrats were notoriously terrified of COVID, so of course they were mailing in a bunch of ballots. Back in 2020. So I don't think that it's going to be 3 days before we know the election. Maybe I'm just being like optimistic.
Yeah, I'm
but
hopeful that you're 100%
I don't think so. I think if anything, we'll know by like 5 a.m. tonight or something.
Yeah, I mean Vermont. I guess Vermont was just called for Harris, which that was
Shocker.
That's we kind of knew that was happening. That's weird. Hold on, but the
governor is
Vermont
Republican.
governor went Republican.
Interesting.
Oh.
I need to look into that race.
How does that even happen?
No idea.
Sanders too.
Sanders.
Whoa, Sanders won. What
Hey,
a
let's
shocker.
put on Fox real quick and see what they're saying, so that we can
Do it without those
hear what's
states in
going on.
reality.
Georgia right now,
She was hoping Kamala Harris was
57%.
hoping for a flip there. You get a
Georgia.
surprise there
Is Maricopa
for- and then
County
another
involved in
Trump,
that?
a
That's the
little bit of a different
question.
pace,
That's
different
Arizona.
tone, so-
Maricopa.
Oh, sorry, not Maricopa.
Fulton.
County. That's it.
Fulton County. Yeah.
Before we
Those are the two counties that caused
You
us
have
so
the
much
audio
stress in
on here?
I don't think
2020.
they're talking about it anymore.
What do you think?
Maricopa. I heard that so many
that-
times.
Maricopa County.
Maricopa County.
So interesting because Governor Ron DeSantis is such an effective governor and a
And if
great
you guys have
campaigner.
any questions,
and I think also that there are
please
changes
let us know,
in
and we'd
Latino
love to
voters
answer it.
I
and
love that
generational
Florida
changes.
is a red
but
state
I
now.
would also say
It
this:
is.
I remember when I first voted,
75%
Florida was a huge
of the country
swing state.
says
That
you're
was
on the
like
wrong
the
direction.
mother
You're going
lode.
in the
You
wrong
wanted
direction.
Florida because it had so many electoral.
You should
But
look into that.
Well, look at this.
Yeah.
This is Miami-Dade County.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
77
Well,
points.
Trump did a really
all the
good job at
brown folk.
It's all Cubans.
Yeah, exactly.
They fled from Cuba and they don't want to see socialism creep in from the left. And Trump's done a really good job. I lived in Miami in 2020 and there were billboards saying like, "Say no to socialism."
Really?
And you say that to a Cuban and they're like, "Red."
100%.
And then
It's so true. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, and then there was also Biden who did not help the Cubans when they were in crisis. I don't know if you guys remember. It was right at the beginning of his
I do remember
presidency.
that, yeah.
And like it was kind of like, oh wait, you're letting in all of these other countries, but Cubans, no, not
Right,
allowed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, let's go to Fox real quick. We have an election alert, and it looks like polls are closing. Let's hear what they have
North
to say.
Carolina.
23.
North Carolina.
3.
Is the next state to watch, just like Georgia. It came down to the wire in the last presidential election. It has 16 electoral college
beautiful.
votes,
Comments.
and it will be a decisive one, potentially. The Fox News Decision Desk says it's too early to call.
Also, too early to call Ohio, but former President Trump has a lead in our Fox
That's a
News
big
voter
state.
analysis. As we mentioned, we're also watching the Senate race there. Bernie Moreno is the GOP candidate running against Sherrod Brown. And we can say that Fox News does project that Trump will win West Virginia. Not a very big surprise there. Obviously, the former governor or the current governor is running for the Senate as well. So
We
we'll
expect
be
that to
watching
be
I
a
think we
quick
expected
call
that.
as
Yeah.
well. If you look at the race
So we
for
got
270, the
23
electoral
to
college
3.
votes needed
For
to
what
win
is
the
this?
presidency.
This is
Electoral
this is the
votes.
electoral
Yeah.
currently right now. I mean, obviously, so we have Indiana that's been called, West Virginia and Kentucky, all states. I mean, the states we're watching obviously is Arizona, Georgia.
Nevada, even.
No, he's gonna flip California.
Nevada, Wisconsin,
Yeah.
Michigan, and Pennsylvania.
How
Yeah.
shook would y'all be if we were sitting here in New York or California?
There's
Just
no way.
switches. I'm jumping up and running. I'm like, whoa! I'm like,
Hey, Patrick said, "Who's sitting there wearing what looks like his underwear?"
Underwear.
yo, we all know who it is.
They're
He's
5-inch
laughing.
inseams, guys. I'm sorry that my legs are so thick. They ride up.
Yeah,
Pull it down.
I know.
I can read that comment from
That was
there.
good.
You can
That
see
is-
from there?
Yeah, that I guess.
Yeah, I can
so.
see it. I can see it too.
You know what? I'm going to let them ride up.
Someone said
Get
I
us some
agree.
views.
Other people are agreeing that like it's weird if they don't call it tonight. So that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arizona was decided by this time last election.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Was it?
well,
Jeez.
Was
Didn't
it?
they call Arizona early?
No,
I feel like that was Fox News, like calling Arizona early. There was a whole like.
but that was like 4
Arizona's
days
polls
later.
aren't even
Yeah.
closed, I don't think.
Yeah.
No.
It's 3 hours
Oh,
behind?
because they called it early. Because remember Fox News called Arizona, and we were like, "Why are you guys calling him?" It was like 22%
That's
of the
right.
votes. Were in.
Clarkson's like, I'm
Yeah.
pulling my pants down now.
North Carolina
That's
governor
homophobic.
just
I'm just
called.
kidding.
Oh, I liked Robinson. He lost.
Yeah, they really went after him.
No,
What?
I didn't like
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't like
They really
him?
went
Oh, I
after
liked
him.
Robinson.
him. No, he had some stuff come out about him.
Really?
This whole thing got tanked. Yeah.
I heard about that actually. I don't know what it was, but I remember hearing some
He
stuff came
denied
out.
it, but yeah, we don't know.
All right,
Yeah.
Trump is currently up 14 points so far with Georgia, which again, I don't have PTSD because he was up like 30 at one point.
I keep getting triggered when this says, "Oh, he won," things that we already know he won. But I know they're just
Yeah.
updating people that haven't seen it yet. But I'm like, stop showing this. I already know he won Indiana.
You know, North Carolina wasn't really as much in play until that stuff came out about Robinson.
Yeah, man, that sucks.
That's
about
what made
Robinson.
it such a swing because
Really?
Why can't all states be like Florida? Florida right now, the polls just closed like what, 35 minutes ago, and 80% of it's in.
Yeah.
Because
And-
Ron DeSantis be on it. That's why.
And then Georgia has closed, but it's 8% in. But it looks like, man, Trump is. I mean, obviously, we need to see what Fulton County is, which I think Fulton County is going to be the last county that
Is that more
obviously
liberal or
reports.
is it
Oh,
more-
Fulton County
it's a
is.
suburb outside of Atlanta, I believe.
Yeah, and Fulton County was also.
He's going to Kamala.
Well, Fulton County is the county where the water pipes, and they brought,
that's
they brought in those ballots in the middle of the night.
when the sus stuff is happening.
It's about how much he loses Fulton. It's not necessarily whether or not he wins.
Correct. No, 100%.
That's disrespectful.
So, what do you guys think a second-term Trump presidency would look like if he wins?
I'm so curious about that.
Yeah.
I think it'll be better because he even admitted that he was not prepared
Yep.
in 2016, which is why he didn't deliver on a lot of things. And he said he had the wrong people in his administration, which to me is a little bit shifting fault. But I think it'll be more effective. I think now he's worried more about his legacy than anything. So this is, I hope it doesn't turn into a revenge tour and it's actually more just about, fulfilling the promises that he made in 2016.
What I'm most excited about if Trump wins is the private transition team that he created.
Yeah.
Versus before it was full of lobbyists. And I do think the issue with Trump in his first 4 years as a president was the fact that he didn't know who he could actually trust. And I think if he goes into these next 4 years, he's going to have that better idea. But he's surrounding himself with people that want actual real change. Tulsi Gabbard,
Yeah.
Elon Musk, obviously RFK, which
Former
I'm
Democrats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
former Democrat Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Even though he's not a part of the
He's a
transition.
Bernie
team.
guy.
Yeah.
But you have guys that were a part of the Bernie squad.
Right.
And the only reason why they liked Bernie was because they could tell that he wasn't bought.
Yeah.
And then they canned him and they pulled they basically stole the whole thing from Bernie and gave it to Hillary during the entire
Which
primary.
They agree with the liberal, all the Democrats. They agree. It was stolen from him, but then
Yeah.
other things can't be stolen. It's interesting.
Correct.
Careful.
But I
We're
think
on YouTube.
that is what I'm most that is what I'm most excited about is the people that Trump is putting around him. Because at the end of the day, I mean, if you are a product of your own environment, and the people that you surround yourself are the people that are really going to speak life into you. I think one of my creative director, he was telling me some truth about after doing a couple podcasts. Like, hey, you need to do this and this and that, and he's like, I'm always tell you the truth, bro. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Fix this. I'm like, perfect. And you need those people because in an RFK, I think, in actually speaking to Trump, and Trump would hopefully listen. I think that's my only.
I
thing
think
that
that's
I'm
the
nervous about.
question: is his ego big enough to be able to take that criticism? Because were the people he surrounded himself with in the first administration telling him the truth and he wasn't listening to it?
Yep.
Or were they working against his best interest? Because I don't know. I think that it's plausible that he might be surrounding himself with yes men and calling them loyal, which to me is very dangerous because then you're not president for the country, you're president for half of it. So that's the age-old question: is his ego going to get in the way?
But there's some people that were involved in his first administration that I feel like would not just be yes men, like Ben Carson. I don't think he would have been.
No, absolutely. I'm saying
So I
in his
think-
first administration he had less yes men, but now I think he might be looking for more.
I don't know. Well, I totally understand based off Trump's personality and how he behaves that you would that anybody could think that, and maybe it's true to an extent. But I feel like bringing on such the figures like RFK and Tulsi who are on the complete opposite side and saying
Yeah.
I want to work with them and I want them to do things to help benefit the country is why would you bring on people that you know are going to cause
Because RFK
contention?
was stealing votes from him.
Yep.
What
And
about
I don't
RFK
Tulsi?
think that's the
RFK
only
What about-
reason.
what-
I don't think that's
what
the
about-
only
No,
what
reason.
it's
about
not. But it's
Tulsi?
two things can be true at once.
What about
I
Tulsi,
think
though?
that Tulsi and RFK were banished from the Democratic Party, so they really didn't have another pipeline to go down. So I'm saying, I'm not saying that this means that Trump doesn't want them on and doesn't want a unity ticket. Two things can be true at once. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's not beneficial for him to get RFK's endorsement when
course.
RFK
Oh, no,
is
I know.
hemorrhaging
Yeah.
way more votes
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Trump.
no, of course.
It's one thing to get
Yeah.
an endorsement. It's another thing to get that endorsement and then like, hey, oh, you can be part of the team now.
We have a couple
So that's what
comments
I'm
on
saying.
YouTube. We have a couple comments on YouTube. One says, I don't see RFK or Elon as yes
me
man at
neither.
all. Kaylin says, JD Vance is not a yes man. Neither is RFK. But the one question asks, what are your thoughts, Clarkson, what are your thoughts on Tulsi Gabbard?
I like Tulsi. I do. I've always been a fan of her. I wanted her to be his VP pick because I think that would have been a true unity ticket.
Yeah.
And that would have really sent a
Oh my
message.
gosh. She
That
would've
would
been
have
perfect.
really sent a message to America that it's not
Closer?
about partisan politics. But
And as much as I hate identity politics, it would have been nice to see a woman because that silences a lot of the left's like
Yeah.
two white men, you know? Like,
yeah.
Well, they can't talk because they
Vance
picked.
was surprising though.
Yeah.
Once
He shook me.
once he was in
really
that
good.
debate, I was like, oh, okay. Like
I was
he's-
suspicious of him at first, but I've really, I can change. I even did a whole video about it where I was like, I don't like this guy. He seems like he's shady, but I think it's the beard. I think because
Maybe.
when he didn't have a beard, he was like a farva. He was not.
It's not
He
even-
was,
it's-
but the beard came and he
Yeah.
like because he was speaking against Trump. He was calling.
Yeah,
him
that's
names.
the thing that's
yeah.
sketchy. It's like how
that's
can you
why
be-
I think he's a yes man. Because he shifted. A
But
lot
he's
of his
but when
opinions.
he says but
When
when
he explains it, he
shares-
explains it
yeah,
well.
he
He
explains
does.
it in a way that doesn't seem genuine because I'm
Yeah.
very skeptical of people.
Right.
Like I was not. I mean, I was not into DeSantis. I'm still not into DeSantis.
Oh, you're
But,
not.
like,
You don't-
yeah.
Oh, you don't like DeSantis?
I mean, I think that he's shady. I really do. And I like what he's done as governor, but I don't want him to be my president. And I
don't
didn't
like that
like
he
what
ran
he did to
against
Trump.
Trump.
I did not like what he did to Trump, and I don't like how
It's not a personal opinion.
there's things about him that it's in the past that people haven't researched, and
Oh,
yeah. So I
yes,
just
ma'am.
yeah. But anyways, so I'm very skeptical of people. But when I hear JD Vance, I do see genuineness. Now you have to actually see it in action, not just words.
Right.
But yeah.
All right, so we got a couple questions, and Mac Lawson says, I want to know.
Oh God, that's my sister.
Oh, is
Here
that
we
your
go.
sister?
Yeah, here we
sister.
go.
I want to know what Clark thinks about capris and if they should come back in style or not.
Capris?
Yeah. For
I
men?
actually,
As he pulls his face.
you
got
mean
some on
these?
right now. So
For women or men?
For women or men is the correct.
I feel like if it came back for women, that'd be kind of cute. I don't think a man.
do they
should
not
ever
wear
be
them
wearing a
anymore?
capri.
Do they not wear capris anymore, girls?
I don't think so. It's
They
not in.
they really had a day in early 2000s.
I remember-
It was-
Psh,
yeah.
Capris are the ones that go
Yeah, they
here,
go right
right?
Yeah,
there.
I remember
Yeah.
the capris.
I feel like I could
Never
see
forget.
like because Gen Z kind of dresses like they're homeless, so
Yeah.
I could see them wearing
Gen
like
Z getting
a
into
flared like
But
capri.
with like scrunchy socks.
Yeah, with like weird socks and then white Nike shoes
Yeah, white Nike
and like a
shoes.
baggy shirt
Yeah.
with
that's-
unwashed hair. That'd be cute.
That's
We love you,
With
Gen Z.
unwashed hair.
We love you. All right, and then one person says, do you guys believe Tulsi could become the first female president in the next election?
I don't think she wants to be president. Do you think?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
If
If she didn't have political aspirations, she wouldn't have switched to
True.
Republican.
if
a great point.
yeah.
if Kamala wins, then this completely takes away my point I'm about to say. But a lot of people, even women, don't want a woman president. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Right.
I don't know. Maybe. I love Tulsi Gabbard. Like, based off everything I've seen, and especially I remember I first started to get a liking towards her in 2020 when she was debating Kamala Harris, and
Yeah.
she called her out for. This is my biggest thing with Kamala Harris, and obviously a lot of politicians have done sketchy things, and I don't know everything about every politician and all their dirty laundry, but the fact that Kamala Harris was responsible for like withholding evidence to get an innocent man free off of death row, like I would never vote for a person like that. The fact that you did that, I would
Amen.
never vote for you.
Yeah.
But the thing about when Tulsi was debating her, she was defending no cash bail. And I think a lot of conservatives forget that, is that Kamala was not on the liberal side in that debate. Tulsi was.
Oh, Kamala is not liberal when it comes to prison stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So as somebody
Put 'em in
who
jail. Lock
loves
'em up.
I love locking criminals up. So not that, like I'm just when I see that from Tulsi, I'm like everybody's like, oh, she owned her. I'm like, by defending no cash bail, like that's a pretty big deal.
That part's bad, but then like the other element of that though, like if you had evidence to like let an innocent man free
that's
after, that's
different.
insane. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
regardless of like who wants it, criminals in jail more or less is more lenient, like that's a whole problem in its own. If you have evidence to let someone free and you refuse to present it until you're forced by a judge when they're on death row, that's insane behavior.
Yeah.
It is
That is
insane.
unacceptable. It's unforgivable in the terms of you being a political leader. Like I will never trust you. If you could
Yeah.
do that,
She likes power.
that's insane.
and I
to
think
me.
she's also very moody. And I think that's what concerns me about women because we have I don't know if she's gone
Little
through
emotional.
menopause all the way. She's like, how old is Kamala?
60.
60. So she's
I don't
gone.
know. I don't know. I think Trump is the most moody politician we've ever had. So
He's
I just feel
hilarious,
like this
though.
is a little bit. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but
But like for making decisions, though, like you're going to see a different person based on the time of the month, especially when she was an attorney general. So if you caught her when she's PMS
Yeah.
and she's like,
I
you
don't
know?
know. I don't have a period, but I don't know. I know a lot of strong women that are able to overcome that, and I'm sure you're one
Yeah.
of them. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not actually.
No.
So yeah.
No, not at all. I'm just kidding. Just be the
21 minutes ago, Georgia, based on CNN's exit polls again, Georgia independents have swung now Republican 20 points since 2020. Which
Where are
obviously
the independent? Like what counties? I'm so curious.
Yeah, I mean this is coming from the exit polls from Georgia.
Oh, exit polls.
Exit polls. So this is not the
Oh.
actual.
Okay.
The actual polls itself, and that was as of 21 minutes ago, and I think that's really where it's going to come down to. Which, again, I hate to keep coming back to you, to Clarkson, like, because
we had a flipped seat.
Did we?
Yep. To
Oh.
Republican.
Nice.
On the
Wait,
Senate.
no.
Whoa.
Oh.
What state was this?
West
I'm not
Virginia?
sure.
Oh, it was Joe Manchin's seat, I think.
What? That's huge, though.
Yeah.
But
Joe
he
Manchin?
was like a
Because that's the other thing to think
And the
about
Dems don't
House
like
and Senate
him.
race right now.
Yeah, because he was a very moderate Democrat, and he was voting with Republicans a lot. So it's not necessary. I mean, it's a flip. But
It's
like,
a
No.
So they
flip.
put in
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
rhino.
he was voting with us anyways.
Yeah, he
put in a
was.
rhino.
Are you sure it's that state?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
It
didn't
said
see.
West-
I didn't see.
West
Okay,
Virginia.
cool.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Okay. Well, so we got a flip Senate seat. I didn't know that was. I thought that was a toss up. So the fact that they called it so soon. We got 23 23. Look at the popular vote. Obviously we have to wait for all the counties, but 6.4 million for Trump. Looked like it was 5.1 for Kamala. We have
Smaller counties coming first.
Yeah, all the smaller counties are coming first. We'll probably see that tick up on the blue side.
Before this week, I promised you, like, Trump was winning the popular vote in my eyes. He was winning the electoral. He was gonna
Sorry, I tainted your
landslide.
view.
And Clarkson literally ruined my life. He ruined
sorry.
my joy.
I know.
He took all the joy I had and threw it in the trash.
I feel like we're on like Fox, where you have like that token like liberal in the middle that's just like sitting there like, well, this is what
you
happened.
need that because
No, but it was eye opening though, because you explained, and you and Lou also explained the other side about how like liberal media and how the way they portray Trump is the same way that we portray a lot of people in conservative media portray Kamala. Now, obviously, I do think Trump is smarter than her, but
Right.
she's not dumb. Like I think that's like a misconception. Like I've even said, "Oh, she's so dumb, and maybe she's just not good at like with public speaking, or she's not good with interviewing, and she like there's pressure." But then also makes me fearful because if you can't like handle the pressure, you definitely can't be president.
Well, I think she's
But-
dumbing herself down for the vote.
Well, yeah, somebody said that too, and I'm like, I think it was you, and I
Yeah,
was
it
like,
was me.
I was like, why would you do that?
Because most people want to see an approachable politician. If somebody gets up there and just like educates on their
But
high
that's
horse.
Trump. Trump was he was approachable, funny in a way that like was like engaging, entertaining, and like, oh, I like this guy, and he's not
Yeah.
like throwing all this nonsense at me where I can't comprehend because it's like political talk.
But
And
if
that's what
she-
people liked about Trump. But like, she's just sounds stupid, and she's not. Obviously, you can't be a prosecutor in the Senate, or
She also She also copied a lot of her books, and I don't know how much of her work that she did was truly her own. But
Yo, everybody has a ghostwriter.
if she purposely
I was
dumbed
just about to say
Everybody
that
has a ghostwriter.
yeah, if she
I'm not gonna lie.
purposely dumbed down her campaign, it kind of backfired. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Well, it's
it-
not, but it's not even just that though. Even like in 2020, she didn't sound like the most articulate being. Like when she was doing debates, and this is after the debate, not even Tulsi Gabbard, when she was doing it with Biden or Mike Pence, he was cooking her the entire time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is like more so than Trump cooked Biden when
Mm-hmm.
and like Biden's like not there, right? Mike Pence went harder on Kamala than Trump did on Biden. Trump won those, in my opinion. But like Mike made her look foolish, and it was like insane.
Well, I don't think intelligence is necessarily measured by your verbal acumen. She doesn't have.
No, I
the
mean like
poli-
just even like this.
No,
point
no,
she
no.
was-
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying like I don't think she's dumb. I just don't think she has that politician flair
Yeah.
with public speaking.
Yeah.
I don't think Trump has it either. I think that he's branded himself as very anti-establishment, and in a frustrated country, that's going to
Yep.
do well. But I don't think we have any monumental politicians on the ballot right now that we're going to look back on in 100 years and be like, wow, that was a innovator. That was a wise man that deserved the position of power that he got. Or woman. I don't see it.
See,
Trump or
what
Kamala.
what you said about Kamala is how I feel about Trump. Like literally, he made things digestible and understandable about and simplified of what's happening in the country and what the solutions were in a simplified manner that obviously are more complex. There's like a lot more into securing the border and building a wall and all that stuff. All these things that he said, like, hey, this is the problem, this is how we fix it. And obviously, there's the nitty gritty details, but I think he did such a good job at presenting the problem and the solution and like.
And he's also
bringing comfort to us, and go ahead.
He's also a comedian.
Right.
literally
I
so
remember
funny.
him for that. I've had so many laughs this last year.
You got to know he's an entertainer,
and I can't believe that he can get all of the attacks that he does, yet still get on stage and make everyone laugh for like 2 hours.
He's so
I'm
funny.
like, he's a really funny guy, and I think he will be remembered for that. And
It's charismatic.
I do think that he is the right man for the time, not necessarily because of who he is, but because of what he revealed.
Represents.
I think that a lot of people have woken up the last 6-7 years, and it's just been like an awakening across the nation.
Yeah.
And I think that he's someone that's easy to hate,
Yeah.
and people love to hate, and that brings a lot of truth out in people.
Yeah.
You start kind of go, oh, wow, I didn't know you were that hateful and angry, and now I can see, just because you're so unhinged about this guy. I get it. There's things about him that you may not like, but they're unhinged. Like they call him a white supremacist,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
and a Hitler, and all these things that
we're
aren't
Nazi.
true. Yeah, exactly. And it happens all the time, and it's all over the news. And so I am very much appreciative to him for that, because there has been awakening.
Well, here's some wild updates. Breaking: 5 voting precincts in Georgia, specifically in DeKalb County, have been shut down after receiving multiple bomb threats.
I saw that.
Cops are currently on the ground evacuating everyone.
Oof.
So they have paused the voting in Georgia again.
Georgia.
Gosh dang it. We got a couple comments. One person said, let me pull these back up.
Please pull up the insults if there are any. Please pull those up.
Yeah.
The thighs are standing
People
out,
are
you
asking
guys.
about North Carolina. They're talking about your thighs, Clarkson.
Oh,
We
nice.
got someone that says, man, Titus is fine.
That's nice.
Are you single? Yeah.
No, he's not single. Yes.
You're not
hey,
single.
Haley, I'm not. I'm
He's
letting
like, "You're
everybody
watching,
know.
no."
I'm letting everybody know.
Wait, what's her name?
Haley.
Haley. Wait, is that maybe that's the person who said it?
Oh, maybe it was. You
Oh.
said Haley.
It might have been.
Aw, well
which
then
might have been
that's
your girl that said you fine. But anyways, I
She
can't
doesn't
find
talk
the
like that, so
comment
that's interesting.
Here, yes, D Gonda just said, "Here we go again with Georgia," which is
well,
ridiculous.
it looked like Donald Trump was about to win Georgia. There's the decision desk, which is they kind of make little predictions. They said a 76 chance of winning Georgia,
Really?
with 12% of the estimated vote reported, and so now we have this disruption.
When
So
did
we'll
that
see.
disruption happen? Because I heard it happened like 2 hours ago.
Oh,
I'm reading it 45 minutes ago,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
but then again, that might have been 2 hours ago.
Donald Trump flips Duval County, Florida.
Florida?
Duval
That's
County.
Duval County.
That's
in
Duval.
Florida?
Yeah, so as we're reading this, we have 23 electoral votes for Trump, 3 for Harris. We got 1 flip on the Senate for Republicans. The House, we have 20 Republicans, 7 Democrats currently. So this is coming in live. Obviously, we don't really know what's happening because we're waiting for all of the cities that are not the bigger cities to report, and that's where obviously we're probably going to see it more left. But it's going to come down to, I think, the black community, and it's going to come down to independent voters. I think that's like the two.
And men,
Trump
if
25.
men show up.
And if men show up.
Trump
yeah.
at 25%
Which doesn't make
with
sense.
black
Why
men
do
in
they
Georgia.
not? That's
Say it again?
Why are men not
exit-
showing up? I don't understand that.
Go ahead.
Go, no, you
They're
can-
just voting.
I was going to say
today.
exit polls Trump at 25% with black men in Georgia.
This goes. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wonder what he was in 2020.
It wasn't that.
Probably
Yeah.
not.
And this is where because obviously everything I'm reading right now is very positive, but we talked earlier.
Let me look on my Twitter.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what,
please,
that's,
let's see your
Yeah.
side. of the
No,
aisle.
Clarkson. Well, this is exactly what I was about to bring up, because the question is the echo chambers in social media are truly remarkable.
Oh, they are.
Because what you were saying earlier this morning, we felt really strong, and then we talked.
Me and you, we
Clarkson.
were
He's
like-
and we're like, oh, we look good.
We got this in the
Our
bag.
timelines, the polls look great, and the Clarkson's like, I think we're gonna lose, guys. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, my side's saying on my timeline, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Kamala's feeling great. So yeah, Clarkson, what is going on in your social media currently?
I gotta scroll a bit.
Do
What
some-
is what's trending right now on X too? Oh.
Well, let's turn to Fox real quick for a minute and see what they are reacting to. I know that looks like West Virginia's governor won.
It
Which
gave
I
to
don't
see
know how they won when he's
Republicans
only up by 1%. I still don't understand how they call these elections so
priced
soon.
into Donald Trump. They want to see him be tough. They want to see him be a fighter. And a lot of the things that he talked about were things that people agreed with. So I think people give him more of a pass on the tough rhetoric than they do on Kamala.
All right, let's talk to some voters. I can't wait for this part. Okay, so Steve, you are a Democrat, and I understand you voted for Trump, and you live in the all-important battleground of Pennsylvania. So tell me about your journey and what it's been like and why you made that decision as a Democrat.
Well, Harris, for me, it was very simple. The issues for me are fighting anti-Semitism, being strong on our greatest ally, Israel,
45 minutes.
economic strength, fighting the border, and peace through strength. And Donald Trump, we have a 4-year history of Donald Trump as president, and he demonstrated all of that. And it was a no-brainer. It was been a very interesting reaction for people to see me demonstrably promote my rapport for Donald Trump, but I also have supported Dave McCormick. So that was sort of a double-edged whammy for me, but it was a no-brainer.
That are on ours, right?
All right.
Supporting Donald Trump is an easy decision.
Yeah, as a Democrat, you said, people were reacting to that. I appreciate your answer. I appreciate everybody's time. We will hear more from our voters' voices throughout the night. Let's go to back to Brett and Martha.
All right, Harris.
Thank you, Harris. Thanks, Lee. So the clock is ticking down to one of the biggest poll closings.
I'm trying to, honestly,
night.
all I'm seeing is the same things we've already gone over about the exit polling for black men in Georgia. That's really all I'm seeing about. And that's looking in Trump's favor.
Yeah.
Everything you're saying?
Yeah.
Wow, maybe we got it if your people are. Your people is crazy.
My people.
Your people. Some people say it to me like you're black.
Oh, no,
Your
yeah.
people. I just hope that I'm.
Hey, is there a blanket over there?
Voted for Trump is trending.
Yeah, these thighs are a little
Melania
chilly.
is trending.
Melania is trending?
Melania is trending. Voted for Trump is trending. Oh, wait, no, it's not. It's at the top, but it's
He
not.
has anxiety right now.
We covered up my thighs, you guys.
All right,
So-
election 2024. So if you go to trending on, like just trending, not your trending, which is the thing they have now, like what's trending in your space. I don't like that because I want to see everything. If you go to the main trending, I feel like that'll give a pretty good idea of what people are. Trump wins Indiana. Who did win that? Why is okay? Sorry.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty nervous right now. I don't know what to think.
Normally Fox does like a breakdown of the counties that have came in.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Because that's really the question. It's like, it's so early in the night that I have no idea.
So did you look at your feed?
I haven't seen anything that's like, all I've seen is the same things we've gone over with Georgia.
Okay.
With the black men exit polling.
Well, currently with Florida, Trump's up 10%, 4.9 million to little over 4 million for Kamala, which is, and with some of the feedback I'm hearing as well is we need to talk louder in these mics.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So
I'm so sorry, guys.
Yeah, specifically you, Titus. I'm just joking.
That's weird. I've never been told to be louder.
I'm going to pull up right now. I want to pull up Pennsylvania. Oh, no, Pennsylvania hasn't closed yet. But North Carolina is the one that's very interesting right now. I mean, obviously, we only have a couple percent in. But currently, right now, 62% for Kamala Harris, 36% for Trump, 116,000 votes. But
This is North Carolina?
This is North Carolina,
Yeah,
which is a big state.
Yeah.
Huge state.
What?
But only 3% is in currently.
I need to make
She's
a
going to win North
announcement.
Carolina.
You think
Which
so?
is-
If
which
she
is
wins North
crazy.
Carolina,
Yeah. If she's
he's
trending
gonna
up
lose
like
the
that,
election.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
that's what
he would
people are
have to
saying,
win
that-
Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, and I believe Nevada, maybe not Nevada, if she wins North Carolina. Because
Is she up in North Carolina?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah, by a lot.
She's up a lot. But again, we don't know what. We only have 3% in currently.
Yeah.
Now, with Georgia, we have another drop just now. Georgia, we have 23% in. 61% is Trump at 786,000 votes.
He's gonna win Georgia.
Harris at 37% with 483,000. So, I mean, again, the big county that we got to focus on, obviously, is Fulton County. But, man.
You got me tripping.
I know.
Did everyone get out and vote?
People are trying to say,
if you're sitting here listening to this live stream and have not voted yet, please leave and go vote.
Yeah.
no, like pull it up.
I feel like they're not registered.
Or just take it on your phone.
Yeah.
Pull up your YouTube, keep it on in the car, have your Bluetooth connected to the stream. Don't leave the stream.
Yes,
Still go
don't
vote.
leave the stream. Yes.
Make sure to like and comment as well. No, but so people are saying that Elon Musk is doing an election interference because when you hit the like button, it shows like a American flag box or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, just an American flag? Is
It's
it,
like,
is
oh
it
my God,
election
I'm like, how is
interference
that
now?
election?
Instagram does that too.
Yeah.
Elon Musk has
sign at the
changed
top of
the
that.
like icon, support of Donald Trump. It's literally a flag. What are you talking about? Some people are actually stupid.
See, I find it so annoying that they get mad at Elon Musk, yet they have George Soros, who's like buying all the radio stations.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, which billionaire are you?
Also,
Yeah, right.
inconsistent.
It's like it's double standards. all
Yeah,
around.
exactly.
Also, what doesn't make sense to me, and this is another reason why I feel like Trump has, and this is I think another reason why people thought it was stolen, or the situation in 2020, is that like there's so much like, if you follow Instagram followings, right, like or just followings in general on platforms, like he always has way more. Donald Trump has so much more support on social media for the party that's like old and white,
Right.
and but like the Gen Z, the young people that support the other side, they always like Kamala has. I mean, obviously she was picked like a few months ago, but like they have such a smaller following and less like engagement and less views. I'm like, what is there any sort of like
Oh, the left hates when you
argument
say
to that? Like
The left-
I don't understand how.
Wait,
why
are you saying that Kamala has more support
no,
on social
Trump
media?
has more.
I don't believe that to be true at all.
I mean, I'm talking about based off their personal followings.
Oh, well, I mean, if you look at Carrie Lake's governor race in, what was that, 2020? She had like 600,000 followers and her opponent had 10,000 and they won. I don't think that, I think the only time a celebrity or a large following has benefited someone in politics is Trump. But I haven't seen it work in other elections. Even on smaller elections, you have influencers that run and they lose.
Really?
Because I don't think the American people deem that credible enough to cast their vote for you.
I do think that there is a confirmation bias in all of that, though. So, for example, YouTube got rid of the thumbs down because when you
Right.
go to YouTube, when Biden was
Every
doing
Joe Biden video was
so
like-
every Joe Biden video was getting just panned. And
Which is why people thought it
and
was
they want
fishy.
America to think that there's a lot of people that hate Trump, and yet you go to the YouTube and it's like
Every
everyone
video with
hates
Joe
Biden,
Biden.
and loves Trump.
Every single
yeah.
Joe Biden video was negative, more negative likes than
Yeah,
positive
way
likes
more
on
negative.
every single one I went
likes.
to.
And so they want to make sure there's a psychological like trip with that, where it's like someone who hates Trump doesn't want to see that there's so many people that don't hate Trump, right?
Well, do you think that's because the Trump base was more energized than the Democratic base since they were in the White House, that Democrats were just not as
That was even
motivated?
before he won.
Yeah, that was.
Or just even then. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like Trump has such a large following that no
Mm-hmm.
matter what happens, they're going to, be very energized on social
But I feel like if
media.
Trump
Yeah.
is that popular and has that much power, that would have translated to the American people and like the vote. Like if it was that, I don't understand how like.
I think you can have a very loyal following. That's
All right,
at
Florida was.
49%.
Hey, can we go to Fox real quick?
Oh.
Florida was just called. We have 105 delegates for Trump currently and 72 for Kamala. Illinois just went for Kamala. But Florida, South Carolina, Alabama, a lot of the states we already know, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Indiana, Oklahoma all went red, which is for Trump.
Maine went for her.
And then Illinois, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey. Oh, New Jersey was called early. I saw a lot of Republicans. They were excited about New Jersey.
Yeah,
They-
somebody asked us on my
Well,
live.
0% have been reported, but Fox has already called New Jersey. How does that happen?
For
I mean,
what? For
New Jersey.
for
For
Trump.
for Trump, for the president. Yeah, it went
For New Jersey?
It
That's
went,
not a good, I mean, we got to be
went
careful
red?
on that one. Yeah.
no, I'm talking, no, New Jersey went
It was called
blue.
for Kamala.
Oh, okay.
Kamala, yeah.
Calling it for Kamala.
Yeah, New Jersey was called for Kamala, but 0% is reporting. So we'll see what that looks like. But
just
Florida
waiting for
was
this
just
shift.
called. Let's check in on Fox and see what they're saying.
I'm just waiting for the shift, man.
She will also win New Jersey, another reliably
Yeah, New Jersey.
Democratic state. Some people had thought New Jersey might be a little bit tight, but we're
your
already
home.
ready to call New Jersey in my home state. Exactly. Voters in Massachusetts will deliver a clear victory to Harris as well, so no mystery in those states.
Staying in the Northeast, Fox News can project that the vice president will win Connecticut. She will also win Maryland, that state worth 10 electoral votes. There's an interesting Senate race there.
Yeah, Harris will also take Rhode Island, another Democratic stronghold, and she has a lead in Delaware, President Biden's home state, of course, but it is too early to call in Delaware at this point.
The vice president will win the District of Columbia, which has never voted for a Republican, and it continues not. If you look at the Electoral College and the race to 270, it obviously changes with all of these numbers. It is in the corner of your screen, 105 to Harris 72, and there you see it full screen. As we start to fill in this map, little by little, we're going to get closer to 270. Remember, there's some big states, including California, all the way out in the West, that'll adjust this number for the vice president. We're back with our panel. Jessica, Jesse, and Kellyanne, we added you. Jesse, thoughts?
Are we sure about New Jersey? Oh, man, I voted next to a guy this morning wearing a garbage bag. So I thought the state was a lock. I guess I was wrong about that. I also just heard from a person who was not going to vote, and then his girlfriend called him and said, if you don't vote for Kamala Harris, we're breaking up. So he just drove 2 hours to the polling station and waited 2 hours in line. So I still don't understand people. And I'm not going to give you the county by county because I don't have that in my wheelhouse. But I will say I was just watching something interesting in Georgia where she's not performing as well with black voters as Joe Biden. And Donald Trump has flipped the script with indies. He's up 11 with independents, whereas Biden had beaten him by 9 with independents. So those are just interesting things to look at. Other than that, if you look at these exit polling or the Fox News voter analysis, you think this would be a runaway Donald Trump victory. I don't understand if only 13% of Americans feel they're getting ahead financially, that Kamala Harris is even competitive. And bravo to the Democrat machine to make this race competitive because she came out of nowhere. No one knows who she is. She didn't run a very specific campaign, and she is making it. They are making it a very competitive race. I mean, we haven't called anything surprising except for New Jersey.
You were surprised.
I was.
Jesse Charlo, welcome. Good to see you.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Your thoughts so far on the evening?
Not surprised by New Jersey, and I'm sorry for you. You had been bragging about that one for months to me.
Okay. I was wrong once.
One time. It's been interesting to see, obviously, what's going on in the suburbs, if this is a harbinger of a good night for Kamala Harris.
We should ban homosexuality.
We're back live.
Yeah.
Titus wants to ban homosexuality.
I know, it would be really hard for him.
Yeah, I'd be struggling really.
Literally.
I'm internal demons that I'm suppressing.
All right, so we were just checking in on Fox to see what's going on, and it looks like Florida has been officially called.
Yeah!
South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Indiana, and Missouri.
And honestly, it feels so good to be in a state where I feel like even though I'm not from here, we won. You know, like it's like I'm in this spot.
Bring your mic up real quick.
I'm in a spot that I'm in a spot that won. You know, and that's just not the case when you're from Michigan. You know, well, actually, 2016 it was. In 2020, you know, we got to this time though, right? Right, Michiganders?
Yeah, I'm
Michiganders.
I'm nervous about Michigan. I'm nervous about Michigan. That's but what Fox is reporting right now, Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, all too early to call. It's amazing. Florida amazes me. That fact that just 4 years ago, and even 4 years before that, and I think we have COVID to thank for that.
Yeah.
The way that Democrats responded to the COVID crisis, that Florida has, I mean, it's so red, the fact that they're calling this before it's even finished. Also, as well, Florida has their elections together. But any updates that you guys are getting currently?
I feel like an idiot.
I see in Florida, recreational marijuana is at 55.6% yes, with 82% reporting.
They need 60.
What happened?
They need 60, right?
Uh-huh.
And then constitutional right to hunt and fish is at 66%.
Good.
Where are you seeing this at?
I just Googled
kill
Florida
animals.
elections.
Yeah.
Partisan elections for school boards,
How is he-
54.1% say yes.
Okay, that's been one.
It needs to be 60.
It needs to be 60.
I don't agree with that. But
What was it?
to make school board elections partisan.
Oh,
I think that allows people to not research their candidates, but
I do and don't agree with that. I feel like
constitutional right to abortion has 57% with 82% reporting.
Wow.
for it.
That campaign.
Hold on, say
was
that again.
A constitutional right to abortion is at 57% yes, with 82% reporting.
And that's in Florida?
They
that
need
one's
60%.
scary because that's the one up to birth, correct?
Yeah. Well,
in Florida.
It puts abortion in the Constitution. So that means that it's a lot harder to reverse through law.
Right. When I voted, because I know Clarkson, you voted in Florida as well. So all three of us.
Yeah,
it's not me. I'm the only odd man out.
Yeah. So what I voted this morning, and when I got my ballot, I was reading it, and when you read it, like it doesn't say like on the Republican guide. It says that, I mean, what this means is that you can have abortion.
Well, it says before fetal viability,
but also with the permission of a physician, not a physician, not even a physician, a healthcare worker.
Yeah, so to protect a pregnant woman's
and
health.
that can include mental health. So
that's where the problem lies with it.
Because usually,
I mean,
you can't just go get a late-term abortion on demand.
Right.
But it is something that you can do if you're having a mental health crisis. You can have a late-term abortion.
Got it.
And the other thing about it is that I think that right now, even if certain people don't agree with the 6 weeks that we have in Florida, I think it'll always be fought. But I think this is too much of a swing to the other side.
Yeah.
Right.
This yes.
Have you guys seen this? Trump 2016, A New Hope. I'm a Star Wars fan, so this is funny.
Yeah.
2020, The Empire Strikes Back. And then 2024, Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
Return of the Jedi.
I was like, that's so funny. As a Star Wars fan, I'm like, this is dope.
I love Star Wars.
No, I think we're all watching right now. Virginia, which is supposed to go blue, right?
Yes.
Virginia's supposed to go
Virginia
blue.
will be blue.
But that is actually too close to call, which would be very interesting for Trump. I'm going to pull up Virginia right now. Right now, we have Harris at 51% and Trump at 46%. Trump's about 60,000 votes with 26% reporting so far.
Georgia's got 84% in.
Oh man, hey, let's turn to Georgia really quick.
Man,
let's bring in
Cruz
Fox News really
right now.
fast and see what they're saying when it comes to Georgia, because this is huge.
Metro area of Atlanta. Let me pop out here. You got 26 counties to concentrate on. But the Harris folks are telling us in Douglas County is that she's performing better than Biden did 4 years ago. Okay, these are suburban voters all over the Atlanta metro area. So she's a net gain of 18,267 right now. All right, you got about a quarter of the vote still out there. Biden finished in Douglas County with a net gain of 17,360. That would be good news for the Harris campaign if this number holds there in Douglas County. Let me pop out here a moment and show you another thing here that we were looking at.
Wait, can you stay in Georgia for 1 second?
I can.
Just before we leave there,
Yes,
the Fox News voter analysis and the network's exit polls, we're being told, show the former president doubling his percentage of black men in Georgia. He was at 11% in 2020 and now at 25%, according to these two surveys today.
So that may sync up with what...
It's starting to match the raw vote.
That may sync up with what we're seeing now in Fulton County. Now, you got almost half the votes still out there, okay? Yep. 52% is the estimated number of votes that are in at the moment, okay? So roughly 48% out there. This is Fulton County. This is Kamala Harris. She's going to win the county, okay? But look at the raw vote total here. It's impressive, 129,000. But look what Joe Biden did in the same county, okay? 242,000. You'd have to go into the precincts to know where the rest of the remaining vote comes from, and maybe we take a look at that in a moment here. But that would be, you're one of 159 in terms of population. So maybe what you're saying, Brett, about the African-American male vote there is true in places like Fulton County, Georgia. Just want to caution you, there's still a lot of vote out there, but we're going to keep a very close eye on Fulton County starting right now into the night here in Georgia.
And Bill, do you have any indication that turnout is a bit lower than 2020, because that would affect some of what you're doing in these comparisons as well?
I can tell you this, Martha. Before Election Day, Brad Raffensperger, the Secretary of State, set up an awesome website. And I mean, just county by county with the early vote. I was on there every hour of every day just trying to analyze it. One thing that was evident from the early vote, don't know about today just yet, but based on the early vote, the African-American population in Georgia is about 33% statewide. What the political analysts will argue is that you need, in order to win statewide as a Democrat, you need 30% of that vote. And the early vote indicated that Kamala Harris was just a tick above 26%. So that's another indicator, maybe another data point that we need to keep an eye on throughout the night as to what
All right, so we got about.
I have a tweet from DeSantis about Amendment 3 and 4.
What are they saying?
He's saying Amendment 3 has failed, Amendment 4 has failed. This is in Florida. This is the legalization of marijuana and abortion in our Constitution. And he's saying that both of them have failed. This was like 803.
Clarkson, how do you feel about that?
I think there's obviously the abortion one. Having mental health as an exemption is worrisome because I'm not for late-term abortions. I thought it would pass. I truly did, because I feel like Florida's a red state that is red because of COVID and because of the economy, but I didn't feel like we were like socially red.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit surprising.
But 60% is a lot.
It is a lot.
You have to get the
I mean, it's still the majority
Right.
of people that voted for it. But I guess I was wrong under the assumption that it would pass with flying colors, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Or if it's already been called, then
Kali, what do you think?
I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I did not want to live in a late-term abortion state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I read that ballot, I think I was talking about that earlier. Like, it didn't say anything in the ballot about late term abortion, and that's where it's like you don't really understand what you're voting for. I mean, even when I was going through the amendments and some of these things, like you don't really know what you're actually voting for unless you kind of go through the blueprint of actually what it really means. Even the marijuana, honestly, like when it comes to marijuana, like I'm actually in favor of, I would rather it be legalized versus, and this is more, I would say more controversial as a conservative. I'm for more legalization of marijuana because I don't think you should be criminalized for it. But then as you go through the blueprint, you see that it's actually more about a monopoly versus actually legalizing it and decriminalizing it.
Yeah.
And that's like the tough thing when you're going through these ballots. You don't really know what you're voting for, and it's so like disguised in a certain way.
Yeah, that's why I assumed that both of those would pass.
I thought both were going to pass.
Yeah,
I thought the 3 and 4 were both going blue.
Right.
Well, the current abortion law in Florida, you can have an abortion up to 15 weeks if you are raped, trafficked, or incest.
Right.
And I think that the Yes on 4 campaign was really exaggerating the current Florida law and saying that you can't have an abortion, or the woman's life was actually up until late term, even if it's threatening the woman's life. So hopefully people saw past that. But I think we're gonna be voting on that every election.
Probably. Yeah. Because that's like the only thing that Democrats in Florida have.
Yeah, exactly.
The majority on.
Yeah.
I'm reading through, looking at polls are just closed about 15 minutes ago in Pennsylvania. So we're waiting to see. That is obviously the state. I mean, Pennsylvania. If that goes red, Trump wins. If that goes blue, then
oof. I mean, with that, everything that happened there, I'm like, maybe there's like people feel connected.
He did almost get shot there, but then I don't know.
Do people feel connected?
People's
to him because of
attention
that?
span is just, I don't know. I feel like if it was 50 years ago and a president almost got shot, even with Reagan, like he won with flying colors, not because he almost got shot, but people just moved on from that very quickly.
But also the mainstream media moved on from it too.
Yeah. But I feel like the mainstream media is a little bit overblown because most people get their news from Instagram and from things like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought that was kind of shocking that it was out of the news cycle.
And you had a second one
She
too.
won Washington, D.C.
Right. Yeah. She what?
Shocker. She won DC.
Yeah, DC. Georgia. Wow, that was a big dump on Georgia just now.
I was just in DC, and DC used to have tents everywhere. Like you would go every little park that's in DC, there was tents.
Yeah.
And then within the last 6 months, they cleaned it all up.
Oh.
Because it looks bad. It looks bad for Democrats.
My question is, why can't every state go as fast as Florida? Like Florida and Georgia close at the same time, and you have 90+% in for Florida and 40% for Georgia, which Georgia did just get a big dump. And
look at them dancing.
Like
Did the dump go pro Harris or pro Trump?
It went pro Trump. We're at
that's the headquarters?
55% for Trump, 43
Where's the diversity
for Georgia.
at the headquarters for Harris?
I know.
There's
where are the white people?
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
man.
there's no there's an Asian.
They zoomed in on some black people. Real
Yeah,
quick.
but that is where's the diversity?
I know. I'm feeling so left out.
Oh
I'm just
my
kidding.
As a Kamala supporter.
What?
Oh, I was kidding.
So, all right. Well, we got about 13 minutes left until we bring on Emily, Lou, and Xavier. So, with 13 minutes left, I would love to get your guys' predictions. Honest predictions. What do you guys think has happened, Titus?
Wait, there's an election alert.
Hold on. Hey, let's bring this up really quick.
Republican businessman Dave McCormick, the Fox News decision desk says this is too early to make a call in Pennsylvania on that race.
This could be a big cheer. Fox News can project that Rick Scott, the Republican senator from Florida, will win his second term. We'll pause for applause down there with Aisha. In Maryland, it's too early to call the race between Democratic County Executive Angela Alsobrooks and former Republican Governor Larry Hogan. Alsobrooks has a lead, however, in our Fox News voter analysis as we wait for the raw vote total to come in.
And too early to call Missouri's Senate race between Republican Senator Josh Hawley and Democratic Attorney Lucas Kunce. Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn, though, we can tell you, will win once again in the state of Tennessee, another reliably conservative state.
In Mississippi, longtime GOP Senator Roger Wicker will take home another victory. The Fox News decision desk can project that in Massachusetts, Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren will win her third term.
Connecticut's Democratic Senator Chris Murphy will also win a third term. Not enough data to project the main Senate race quite yet.
And in New Jersey, current Democratic House Rep Andy Kim will win his Senate race, putting him in the upper chamber for the first time. This is the Bob Menendez seat. In Delaware, Democratic House Representative Lisa Blunt Rochester will win her first Senate race.
In Rhode Island, Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse will return for a fourth term. And let's take a look at the balance of power and how it shapes up at this point in the evening. 8:18 on the East Coast. You have 43 Republicans securing their seat. One seat was flipped. That is West Virginia. The former governor will now be Senator Jim Justice in West Virginia. 34 Democrats have secured their seats in the Senate and a long way to go in the upper chamber as well.
We have a lot of raw vote totals starting to
So we got
dump in
about
from
10 minutes left. So we kind of just got an update. We're at 105 delegates, right, for Trump and 72 for Harris. Kali, how you feeling with 10 minutes to go until we have to make this transition so far into the election?
I just want Trump to stay safe. I don't want to see anything bad happen to him. I've become personally attached to him. I feel like if Kamala Harris wins, they're going to put Trump in prison. And I don't want to see that happen. I think that's something that they're definitely headed towards. And if Trump wins, I think that they are going to try and collapse the country underneath him.
Yeah.
So I think we just need to be praying and making sure that, you know, we have the end goal in mind, and that is to see Jesus come. So I'm like, I'm almost like, let's have the chaos. Let's bring the chaos so that, you know, so that all of the stuff, prophecy can happen. But yeah. That's where I'm at.
Clarkson, how you feeling right now?
I don't think this election is apocalyptic, but I don't know. The votes in Georgia are kind of throwing me off. I'm thinking, I wasn't thinking that it was in Trump's hands, but I'm starting to lean that way for sure. Because if people aren't showing out in Georgia, that's a swing state. Normally those things correlate. I don't know. It's too early to make a prediction.
Yeah. Well, I feel the same way with like anytime I think of Georgia, I'm like, I remember 4 years ago, and it was 11 o'clock at night, and I was feeling pretty dang good about Georgia. And then I went to sleep and woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, turned it on, and it was like
it was flipped.
It was flipped.
Yeah.
It looks like they're coming in quicker though than 2020. Yeah.
They are. And Virginia's tightening it up. Virginia's 30,000 votes apart with only 32% in, which is that's a blue state. So I mean,
it's all Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
It used to be reliable. Like when I grew up there, it was reliably red. And then everybody moved to the suburbs outside of DC, and it turned blue.
Titus, how you feeling right now?
I just want to.
After you've had a glass or two of whiskey.
Whoa.
He's over here
like, I'm Christian, bro. I'm Christian.
Out here making him like a heathen. No, I'm just gonna stay optimistic. I really think he's gonna pull it off, and I'm not like apocalyptic either, but also I'm like, I do think some weird things happened in the past, and like what you said, like if he wins, they're gonna freak out, and if they are going to put him in prison if he lost, that's sketchy to me because it shows like the tyrannical power that the government can put against someone that they don't like, and that's terrifying. So I'm hoping he wins. I feel like he needs to win, and if it was apocalyptic, if it was the end of the world, I'd be like grateful because I'm ready to go up.
Right.
I'm ready to go.
Like if it's gonna be doing all this, I'm ready to go. So
a
it's
lot,
fine.
well, a lot of people in the comments are right now. They're saying they're so worried about 3 o'clock in the morning, and that is the real question. when I read the feed, you look at the exit polls, I mean, right now independents are going more conservative. CNN might be having a couple freakouts based off of the exit polls. Everything looks good.
Oh, the
but
Amish turned out in Pennsylvania.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Amish turnout.
That's
Yeah.
pro-Trump.
Take it for
The
him.
Amish.
That's pro-Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is there a lot of Amish in Pennsylvania? Yeah, I
You ever
don't
watch
know.
The Office?
That is true.
Go
That is
Amish.
true.
Amish
just want to
people
make
are-
their butter
the
in
Amish
peace.
people are
That's
gonna
Dwight's
save our
roots, man.
country.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
so,
roots.
so,
Yes.
so, so we got Michael Scott and Dwight Schrute voting for
Dwight
Donald
Schrute
J.
is going
Trump.
to turn
Donald
Pennsylvania
J.
red.
Donald, yeah,
If you think Dwight Schrute's not voting for Trump, you're wrong.
I feel like
Dwight
yeah.
Schrute is voting for Trump. Maybe not Rainn
actor,
Wilson.
yeah.
But Dwight Schrute is in there voting red, a full Republican ticket. Give me my freedom.
Which
No,
office
he
character?
was like low-key a N-A-Z-I in the show.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, they
Don't
were
say-
like
don't
it
say
was
that.
subliminal.
Don't say that. Why you
It
gotta do
was.
that?
He
Okay.
was in the show.
Never
He was
mind,
like-
he's voting
he was
blue.
he was of
Okay.
German descent. There were jokes about it all the time. I watch it every night.
I know, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's a great show.
Oh my gosh.
But he wasn't that.
I don't know. I think with the exit polling saying that the economy and what was the other thing that was at top of mind? It was the economy and what else?
Immigration?
I think it was immigration.
Immigration and the economy, yeah.
Abortion was only at 10%. So I think that would be indicative of a Trump win, just considering that.
Overall or just with the...
Well, I think that if you're going to base it off the exit polling, then independents, if they're saying the economy is the most important, people they trust Republicans more with the economy.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not making any predictions just because it's going to be close.
I'm going to say it's
gonna
Trump
be
right now.
close.
And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm going to say Trump right now.
Yeah, they're
We shall
saying right
see.
now this just came through 76% chance of Georgia going Trump based off of exit polls and the vote that is coming in. So again, I have PTSD from 4 years ago. We'll see what that looks like.
If he wins Georgia, then he can still win. If he doesn't win Georgia, that's
yeah, you're right. Well, we have about 5 minutes until we bring Emily, Xavier, and Lou on.
You're going to have a grand old time with them.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a good time. Really
We're the
quick.
freshman class.
Really, this is not freshmen, and no, please don't think that.
We're just waiting for our food.
I know. I'm so hungry.
Well, yeah, what you guys don't know is that there's some Italian food.
Yes.
We're
I
starving.
could, like, smell
We
it in
haven't
my
had
mind.
dinner. We went straight from doing 4 or 5 podcasts today, and so there's actually food waiting. So we got about 5 minutes. And we'll actually make this transition. So we're going to go to Fox News for the next 5 minutes, and then we're going to bring on Xavier, Emily, and really quick, how can they find you guys on social media?
Titus L. Smith on everything. TITUSELLIS
Clarkson Lawson, everything.
Kali Fontanilla, everything.
I thought it was California.
My sister goes, Jan would definitely vote Kamala Harris.
Oh, for
which,
sure.
Which is
Jan gets abortions every day. For sure. Actually, no, she really wanted a baby.
She did.
But she used IVF.
So, but is IVF
Trump's all about the IVF.
Maybe.
Yeah, but I'm sure she would buy into like mainstream media saying that he's going to ban it,
Yeah.
like Project 2025.
Yeah,
So-
that is. Yeah, she would buy into
Yeah.
it, even though Trump did not write 2025.
No, he didn't.
He's not even.
No, but some of his
endorsing it.
advisors did.
Some of,
That has nothing to do with him.
That's like saying
I love how Clarkson goes. Yeah, but some of his advisors did.
I
And he
mean,
gives-
a lot of people that work for the Heritage Foundation will be in his administration, so I think it's disingenuous to say that it has nothing to do with the Trump presidency.
That's
I
true.
don't,
But
because
it's
I don't,
over-dramatized,
I
for
don't
sure.
only because there's so many like people that come out with super PACs that come out with policy that they want to promote for the presidency. That one just happen to get promoted so heavily. And like I actually had been to the Heritage Foundation a couple weeks ago, and they were like, yeah, like we always do this every year election cycle.
yeah,
we
and
come
they
out
have
with policy.
right, and then
He's like-
Republicans follow it.
Not there specifically. There's so many super PACs that put out policy.
Yeah, but the Heritage Foundation is a big one,
yeah, no, I'm not gonna say they're not.
and
but
they're
like,
very influential. If they weren't, they wouldn't have as much money as they have.
You think?
I think it's over dramatized, but I don't discredit liberals for saying Project 2025 because
I
even
do.
you said
You
this
don't discredit
earlier.
them for that?
We're not voting for a president. We're voting for an administration. So if that's the case, his administration, who was in it last time, a lot of them had a hand in writing that. So you can't say, okay, well, we're voting for administration and then discredit people's concerns about the
but then you think about who
ideas
he's putting the administration
behind-
as well, though.
Well, if he repeats, there's like, I think
Oh, we're
there's
getting
like-
something controversial. Finally.
Why do you say he's not putting? Look, think about who he's putting though.
where's
Like,
the
okay, Heritage
popcorn?
Foundation.
'Cause I'm
You think
hungry.
Tulsi Gabbard and RFK
You
have
just wanna
anything? You think Tulsi Gabbard and RFK have anything to do with the Heritage Foundation?
Tulsi
Or-
Gabbard and RFK are not the main people in his administrations. They're the faces, but we all know there's bureaucrats that are appointed that we have no idea who
So
they
the
are.
Breathe Act by BLM, that has some crazy stuff in it,
Yeah.
right? But we aren't going, oh, Breathe Act is part of Kamala Harris and Biden, even though they were supporting Black Lives Matter, and we're meeting with Black Lives Matter leaders.
Yeah, but then,
but the Heritage Foundation is a lot more powerful than BLM and conservatism than BLM
At
was
the
in
time,
Democratic
it was
Party.
very powerful. It was like the #1 movement.
Right,
during
so then at the
2020.
time-
but we didn't make
but-
that correlation. We weren't like, hey, the Breathe Act is part of, and they
Yeah.
were even.
What is
hinting
the
that
you
they
can't
were
Breathe
say
some of
that
those
when
things.
it's when
So
it's
Biden,
not you.
Biden
That's
and Harris were saying like Black Lives Matter, and Harris was talking about how she's going to reform the police, but they didn't actually do it.
Right.
So, but we didn't like freak out and go, oh, that's the Breathe Act is part of her
And you
campaign.
can't do that. You can't do
and
that
the
because if
people
I have
that
not
she
subscribed
loves,
to this, you can't
that
sit
she's
there and say
working
that.
with are going to bring.
No, but
this
we
in.
did say even in this election all about how BLM was riding cities and they didn't care. So we did use BLM as a reason to pinpoint Democrats, even though they denounced a lot of
Yeah,
the
but I'm
riots.
talking
But
about
it's
the Breathe
because of their
Act.
behavior
No, I know.
because of it, though.
Because the Breathe Act was like it was like a utopia for leftists. And
Right.
this is- the Project 2020
Not the utopia.
It
is
is.
like a utopia for the right.
Exactly.
It's for
That's what I'm
Christians, not
comparing
even the
it to.
right.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a moderate, so
Yeah.
I don't really toke.
But it's
the
not even the
flames.
right, it's
Hold on, let me
Christians.
talk.
Sorry,
I don't toke the flames of the extremes. But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, it's not entirely inaccurate to be worried about the extremes on one side, because people are the
Oh, yeah,
Project
no.
2025 is the extremes on the right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're talking about is the extremes on the left.
Yes.
I'm saying the extremes don't have that much power, but it's not wrong to be worried about them.
But I don't think we should be campaigning. I don't think we should be worried about
Yeah.
because I think Trump is actually one of the most moderate Republican presidents we've
He's
ever
not.
had.
Yeah, he's not even close
So
to being
I think we should be
extreme.
looking at who he was in his 4 years instead of thinking, oh, because he has a few heritage people, he's all of a sudden going to be into Project 2025.
Well, also you're completely disingenuous in your takes. Not you. Not you.
You can say me.
No,
I'll
I'm not.
defend myself.
No, not you. Not you. You're fine. No, I didn't make it clear because you didn't say anything wrong there. I'm just saying like it's very clear and based off Trump saying that I'm not a part of this.
Yeah.
And
He
even
said it
like
over and over
like
again.
for instance, I think Tom Holman had a part to play in the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025 thing that they put out and. He's like who was the head of ICE. He was like the trying to secure the border. That's like his job, right? Just because he had a page or two in Project 2025 doesn't mean that I subscribe to everything that was in it or that I want everything to be implemented that was in it. It's just a policy like suggestion for people to take or not.
It's
take.
not just. There's a lot of money that goes into that suggestion, and a lot of.
I'm not
happens on that
negating
behalf.
that.
So
fact.
it's not like the Heritage Foundation just says, "Hey, these are things you should do," and then they just give you the book and say, "Follow it if you want." No, there's money that goes into them pushing the ideas that they write. So
Right.
I'm saying it's not wrong.
But
to
if they
entirely
say
that
no,
the Republican Party, Trump says no, but the people that follow him still follow. They believe in it. Is what I'm saying is that if he has people in his administration that helped write Project 2025, their belief system is against people on the left.
Yeah,
and
but
that's
we
what they're
have that
worried
with
about.
the left right now.
I'm not
I mean,
saying we
have,
don't.
like,
I'm not
AOC
saying. Here's the
and-
thing. I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
being partisan.
Yeah,
I'm saying that this is a valid concern.
Yeah.
I'm just as concerned as extremes on the left,
Yeah.
and I'm just as concerned as extremes on the right.
I
think
get what
that's-
you're saying, but I
that's
just don't.
valid,
I don't
yeah.
think that's an actual concern because I don't think like if he's. It doesn't matter if people subscribe.
So
to
you
something.
can be concerned about the extremes on the left, but not the extremes.
No,
on
no,
the
no,
right.
no. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like when it comes to that, like me, I have like obviously a very strong belief in my Christian faith. I'm never going to enforce people to have to subscribe to every element of that. Although I'd love for them to. Like that's different than presenting something that you think would be beneficial to everyone that you think like if culture agrees would want that, but like it doesn't mean you're going to force it on them. And again, it is still a suggestion, even if there's money behind it. It's not like you have to. And once someone says I'm not going to implement that as the head of the party, it doesn't matter if it's something that they agree with or align with. If he says no, and as you said, if anything, you were saying
I
like,
think you're overestimating.
No,
the amount
but
of
if
power
anything,
the
you were
president
saying like he's a
has.
yes man, so he wants people that are going to subscribe to what he wants, and he's opposed to.
Yeah, but Trump has changed his
opposed-
stances on things all the time. So I don't think that Trump is like the shining example of somebody
I
who's
do agree he
solidified.
is influenceable. I do think,
right.
and I think that if more of his base demands the stuff in Project 2025, there is a possibility that
Thank
can
you.
happen.
Yeah.
Now,
Really?
I'm just going to end. This is the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going
She's
to
like,
let
I'm
you go.
going to eat.
Yeah,
then we're gonna go eat.
I do not
so,
think that.
thesis, antithesis, consensus, and I do think that there are powers that want the friction. They want
Right.
the far left and the far right to have so much anger and hate towards each other to bring in a consensus, which is what the government, which is whoever is trying to control things, the globalist elite or whatever. They want the friction to bring in the over government control because we're all at war with each other.
Right.
And so I think that's the whole point of Project 2025. And I do think
I agree, but I don't think that it's people in America. I think it's foreign adversaries.
Yeah, I could see that as
influencing it.
absolutely. I could see that too. And I think that there's foreign adversaries working with some of the government people.
Yeah,
here
I mean the CCP
that are part of it. Yeah,
is in
exactly.
The governor's
Yes.
cabinet, and then
They
we
want
have
the friction.
and then we have conservative
Yeah, they
influencers
want
being
us
paid
fighting.
by Russia. It's
And
like
you are
it's
a
all-
uniter, and I like that
Oh,
about
thank
you.
you.
Yes,
No, you're full of division.
No, I know, but you're actually here talking with us, but we don't all agree on the same thing, and I think that's beautiful.
And that's what I love about our party. I really
Yes.
do. That's been, I think, the theme of our conversation throughout this entire weekend. If you guys don't know, we have been here. We've all been together for the last 3 or 4 days.
We haven't killed each other.
And what I love is we don't all agree. And,
Yes.
and you would think that, especially if you're coming from the other side, you'd think that we all just fully align with exactly what Trump or what conservatism should look like or what you would think that it is. But we don't all agree. But that's the beauty of our party, and we're looking forward to see how it expands. So it is 8:30 now. Really quick, one rapid fire answer. It's 8:30. We're an hour and a half into the polls. Titus, who do you think is going to win tonight?
Trump is going to take it all.
Trump's going to win. Clarkson, you
know I'm not going to answer this.
You were no.
Trump's winning.
Based off the research that you had, you thought Kamala was winning this election before.
Well, I kind of just wanted to say that because I've already
He's
said
been a
Trump.
hater. That's what it was.
Yeah.
But after what you're seeing right now, we're an hour and a half
Georgia,
in.
I think shifts me more Trump, but considering we haven't gotten anything from Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, I cannot confidently say anything.
Just say
Okay,
Trump.
so you're in
Just
the
say
middle
Trump.
now.
You know you want to say
so
Trump.
we've gone from we brought you over more to the middle. All right, I like it. I like
He's trying to be
Carrie.
different. He's just being difficult.
Wow, I said Carrie.
Carrie Lake.
Carrie Lake.
I'll predict that she loses.
I'll say something. That
She's going to lose.
Kali.
I'm going to be cringy Christian. God's going to win.
Let's go.
God's going to win.
Okay,
All right.
now which candidate? No.
All right, we're gonna bring up Blue now. Xavier and Emily, let's bring them on, and we're gonna take a 2-minute break to bring everybody on.
I'm kidding.
Going to eat.
Let's go.
I'm
Yes.
sorry. I said kidding. Stop it.
Things to note right now at this hour, we have not called the state of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Right.
It is a lot closer than people thought it would be. The Trump campaign did a stop in Virginia. They thought it was closing. We're not calling it yet.
No, not yet. And we'll see when that happens. My expectation is still that Kamala Harris will win it. But I understand that President Trump ran an unorthodox campaign in terms of where he went and certainly the things that he was saying. And that's really what I'm paying attention to and what's gone on in Florida. Now, that's great for him, a feather in his cap. Ron DeSantis has done incredible work to make Florida a place that a lot of my own liberal friends are happy to be living. But that is inefficient vote when you are trying to become president. And Donald Trump went to a lot of places, like having a rally here at Madison Square Garden, going to Coachella to give a rally, spending time in New Mexico, which he lost twice. And I think that if Kamala Harris is victorious tonight, there should be some examination of why those campaign stops happened and if his time would have been better spent parked in North Carolina, in Georgia, in Arizona, and one of the blue wall states that he has to pick up, Pennsylvania, for sure.
We've got to go ahead.
Yeah, we'll see how that inefficient vote is. It's a real issue, and we have to see whether or not it actually pans out. And one of the reasons he went to New York and New Mexico and were these House races. I mean, there are House races in all of those places. So. And she did the same thing in places as well.
Hold on. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back with the panel, and we're going to dig into a lot of these numbers. Major poll closings coming up. We'll get our first look at Arizona. Remember Arizona? Michigan, Wisconsin. This is Fox News Democracy 24 marches on.
The votes are in. The next president of the United States is...
My kingdom does not belong to this world. Repay to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God.
Jesus, we trust in you. Amen.
I got this $1,000 camera for only $41 on DealDash.
DealDash.com. Online auctions since 2009. This PlayStation 5 sold for only 50 cents. This iPad Pro sold for less than $34. And this Nintendo Switch sold for less than $20.
I got this KitchenAid stand mixer for only $56.
I got this barbecue smoker for 26 bucks.
And shipping is always free.
Go to DealDash.com right now and see how much you can save.
Starting at 5 a.m., Lawrence, Steve, Ainsley, and Brian bring us all the latest after Election Day on a special Fox and Friends tomorrow.
Back, and let's get a live look, she said, at Pennsylvania, where Alexandria Hoff is in Newtown tonight. Hi, Alexandria.
Hi, good to be with you. You know, in theory, polls have closed, but that is not the case everywhere. You have Cambria County, for example, a judge there ordered that the poll hours must be extended to 10 p.m. That's due to a machine issue earlier in the day. And then in Luzerne County, there's one polling location that's staying open till 9:30. That's in Laughlin for similar issues. The DNC also made a legal push to try to keep polls open in Northampton County later. That actually ended up being denied by a judge. That was due to there being very long lines of Lehigh University students there and polling issues as well. So yeah, in theory, polls have closed. But once again, if you are in line, even by that deadline, you are still able to cast a ballot, guys. We'll send it back to you.
Hey, Alex, thanks. Let's check in with Bill Hemmer. Listen, bounce around. We've got Virginia, you've got Texas, you've got a number of things happening. Ohio.
Yeah, let's get to it, okay? So this is Georgia. I just want to set this up for a moment here. She's performing slightly better than Biden in Douglas County. There's all the metro counties of Georgia. Slightly better in Cobb County. I still see a little of a sticky move here in Fulton County, okay? And maybe that becomes significant because of how many people live there. The problem here is that you've got DeKalb County, nothing reporting because the polls were suspended from that threat. So this is the first number I've seen from Gwinnett, all right? You're 16% in. She got about 60% of the votes, so a lot of the vote still remains out there. Let's move away from Georgia as requested. This is kind of interesting, guys. I mean, a lot of you folks live in the Washington, D.C. area. And right now, this is, you know, 40% of the vote in Virginia, the Commonwealth here. Donald Trump's got an edge here, okay? That's 8,000 raw votes. That's 0.4 percentage points. Here's the catch, however. You know, a lot of this map's starting to fill in. This right here across from Washington, D.C. is Fairfax County, all right? Fairfax County is number 1 out of 133 counties in Virginia based on population. At the moment, you still have at least half of the vote still outstanding. And you see, you know, Kamala Harris was 67%. You would expect that in Fairfax. I'm just making the argument there's a lot of votes still out there, and it may determine whether or not the margin statewide hangs where it is right now or whether or not it changes, okay? So watch that. You mentioned Texas. Let's jump on down there, and I'll tell you what's going on in Texas, all right? Too soon to call. Half of the vote is in. Half of the estimated vote is in at 51%. Trump's got a lead right now. Percentage-wise, 5 points, okay? So that's kind of what a lot of the pollsters had in Texas thus far this year. I'm going to come back to Georgia in a moment. Let me just see what's happening in Pennsylvania because this is critical, too. I said there's a ton of vote out there, by the way. I mean, there's no conclusions at the Keystone State. You're at 11%. I would keep an eye, on Pittsburgh. I'd keep an eye on Philadelphia. In fact, if we can, do we have a moment here? Why don't we go ahead and do the vote? Let's go ahead and do that, right? Let's do the vote margin for Pennsylvania, and let's see what's happening here. What we've done for you is we've tried to set up the state in a way where the more prominent counties are more extended than the others. So you see Philadelphia in the east and Pittsburgh and Allegheny County in the west. And the darker the blue, the more Democratic the vote is. The darker the red, the more Republican the vote is. If you see shades of blue, that means the margin in that county is 10% or less. If you see a shade of red, like a rosé, it's happy hour somewhere. If you see a shade of rosé, that's 10% or less, too. So those are the counties that we want to watch. Let's look at the vote margin now for Georgia. This is interesting, right? So we just went over there on the board, and we showed you the metro counties throughout Atlanta. Let's find out where the outstanding vote for Georgia is at the moment. So what we want to do here, the deeper the purple, the more outstanding votes. So you can go to the more populated counties, perhaps like DeKalb County. You can look at DeKalb on the map. 0% in the upper right-hand corner. Can't know anything from DeKalb. What about Fulton? Fulton. You see, Fulton, 70% of that vote is now in. So that's certainly one to watch. What about Gwinnett? All right, still at 16%. Kevin, go ahead and arm up and look at Cobb County, just to the northwest of Atlanta there. This is Newt Gingrich's old district, heavily Republican for decades, and around 2016 it flipped toward the Democrats, and right now a little more than 50% of the vote in. So Kevin, come on back down here a moment. One county I haven't checked in on, when you look at the African-American turnout, look at Chatham. Chatham is where Savannah is, down there along the coast. You only have 5% of the vote reporting. Chatham was one of these counties in 2020 that took forever to get the vote in. I don't know if that's going to be the same way again this year, but we're waiting.
Not yet. All right, so we are back, and we have Lou, Emily, and Xavier, and also little Aiden. He goes, I want to be on TV. So say hi, Aiden. say go Trump. Oh,
good enough.
All right.
Go Trump.
Go Trump.
Oh,
all right,
yay.
go to mommy.
So
You did it.
He did it. He said go Trump. No, he talks every day. He's like, how's Trump doing? I'm like, he's doing good. He has a little Trump bobblehead.
It's so cute when kids say Trump.
He has like a little Trump bobblehead that I gave him, so he knows. Well, okay, so we are an hour. Well, first of all, I'm so happy you guys are here.
Oh, we're so happy to be here.
Happy
to be here.
Holy crap! Are you guys nervous?
No.
I've accepted my fate.
You're like, how you feel? How you guys feeling right now?
I just feel like it's still too early to tell anything, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I change my mind every 15 minutes.
Yep.
But overall, I'm optimistic because I have to be. Otherwise, I'll run out that window.
I will say the poll. I mean, so far everything is going as we would want it.
How's North Carolina looking right now?
North Carolina. Let's pull up North Carolina right now. North Carolina, we are looking at Trump took the lead in North Carolina. We just had a new drop. So we have 21% in on North Carolina. 52% of that is Trump. 47% is Kamala. Trump is leading by 64,000 votes currently, which I know that earlier that was actually people were freaking out because Kamala was winning by a lot. But again, that's only with 20% in. So North Carolina, he's actually leading currently.
That's not a lot in.
Yeah. We got plenty in so far. So I know that you guys, for the first hour and a half, we had the other guests, but what have you guys been hearing back currently from your guys' sources? I'm sure your guys' social media and your guys' feeds. Have you guys heard anything from, how are you guys feeling outside of being nervous? Because I'm nervous right now.
My morale is still there. I feel like things are relatively going to plan as of now. But it's just so early to tell. And it's like, I just wonder how much of an answer are we going to get tonight? Because I just remember in 2020, I was starting to go to bed thinking that Trump was going to win. And then I was woken up by my roommate at the time being
3 o'clock in the morning.
Literally 3 o'clock in the morning. He goes, bro. I'm like, I know you did not just barge in my room. And he's like, just shows me the big flip that happened.
Big flip, yep.
So I just have trust issues with our entire democracy at this point.
And weren't a lot of states already saying that we're not even going to have results in tonight?
Which states currently have you?
Well, I just remember hearing was it Michigan that said that? Or?
I heard that a lot too. I don't know which exact ones, but they were already saying that, which I think is so weird to even say that. Like, how do you know that?
That you're not going to be able to count the votes on time.
Yeah, like that. Like that seems kind of weird to even say. That's like me being like, oh, I know. Well, I guess I know I'm not going to go to work tomorrow. It's like, what?
Sometimes you do.
Yeah.
The big state I'm watching currently right now is Virginia, and Virginia should go blue, but we're about halfway, almost at the halfway point currently. Oh, we had a new drop just now. So Trump is up at 49.5% Trump, 48.9% Harris. So he's up by about 20,000 votes, and we have about 45% in for Virginia, and that's supposed to be a blue state. And then we also saw
he's doing well there then.
So he is actually doing pretty well in there. He's doing incredible in Georgia right now. I mean, Georgia 55% for Georgia on Trump, 44% for Harris. He's leading by about a little over 300,000 votes. But again, the question with Georgia is Fulton County, which I mean, last 4 years ago we had water pipes, and 4 years later we have bomb threats. Have you guys heard about this?
Yeah,
the bomb threats.
And then the gas leak at the other place, and then they actually turned away Republican voters earlier at some point.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and then they sent in the people to go check out what was going on. Then as soon as those people came, they reopened it up. There's just a lot of stuff going on. I don't like so.
And then North Carolina, Trump was losing a lot, but we just got a big dump for North Carolina. We're at 23% in for North Carolina. 53% is voting Trump, 46% Harris. Trump's winning by about 100,000 votes currently for North Carolina. So, I mean, what states are you currently watching the most currently right now when it comes to...
Should we just do something crazy and be the first network here to call
I
North
know,
Carolina?
right?
Yeah, literally.
For like the 150 to 200 people that are currently watching.
You're like, all right, 10%'s in. Let's go ahead and call it.
Gag.
Yeah.
10% clearly is in. I think the biggest takeaway that's making me feel a little bit more confident that CNN is kind of freaking out about is the independent voters and black men. These are the two voters that are currently going more right, and it's looking good. We just don't know exactly what's happening. Why do you think, and Xavier, this might be more a question for you, why do you think black men, because I mean, you're the only one that's
I'll take
here.
this one.
I was going to say, she's the slavery abolitionist. I'm 2% Chinese.
Yeah, so Emily, about slavery.
No, I'll let him.
But why do you think black men are turning more Trump this election?
Well, I mean, there's so many reasons. People are just exhausted. People are exhausted of the fact that black men for so long are told that we have to stay in this box. Like, if you even just think of the rhetoric that people on the left use for black people when they're trying to get us to stay in this liberal progressive mindset, they're like, oh, you're a sellout. Who am I being sold out from? Please tell me who I'm supposed to have this unapologetic, unwavering loyalty to, because let's be so for real.
Yep.
And black people are also tired of being insulted. Like, our intelligence is insulted when you try to reduce us to the expectation of needing to think with our skin color.
So good.
And people being like, oh, well, you're a black man, so you know that they're going to take your rights away. What rights? What rights did we lose under Trump? If anything, under Trump, we had more businesses, more opportunities, fewer people were unemployed, and we all remember that.
Well, what are the rights that the left say? Like, what? I know that's like a mirage. They're like, we're going to lose our rights, or women are not going to be able to. They're going to lose their rights as well. Like, what rights are they actually specifically talking about?
They swear up and down they're about to put the shackles back on our feet. And as long as Beyonce is black, we are not going back to slavery. I promise you that. Black people are thriving. Being black in America is a very easy life, and nobody likes it when I say that, but it is. So for you to try to tell so many black people, oh, you're going to lose everything by being a Republican or a conservative, it's like, please be serious for once and stop bringing Beyonce
Do you think
on
that
stage.
black men feel different than they did 4 years ago? Or do you think that there's just more of, because I know a lot of the Democrat platform right now, they're saying that you have permission to come out here as an independent, as a Republican, and vote for Kamala Harris. Look at all these other Republicans that are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's similar for how black men are feeling, or do you think they actually feel different about the policies and the politics and whatnot?
I think black men particularly are just paying attention more, because it's like you can only do the same lie so many times. And now we're in the age of social media where we're all a lot more connected than we used to be, rather than just like the word of mouth back in the early 2000s of all the black people telling each other this is the group think we're going to have. But now black people are going online, doing their own research and conversing amongst ourselves and being like, this is just not reality. The other part about it that is a really hot take, I guess, when it comes to why black men aren't supporting Kamala Harris, honestly, I feel like a lot of black men would be more inclined to support someone like Hillary Clinton than Kamala Harris. Ooh. Because
Why is that?
There is this narrative constantly put on black men that we are oppressed and that we are victims and that we are inferior. And then what happens with that, when you have black men having this mentality that white men are their oppressors, especially if they go to work and their boss is a white man or even a white woman, they are automatically feeling resentful and lesser than this white man or than this white woman just adjacently. So then when they look at black women, that is the only demographic that a lot of black men feel like they have any type of power over. Yep. So the last person that they're wanting to take all of this jurisdiction from is going to be a woman who is claiming to be black. I don't think, I hate to say it, but I don't think a lot of black men are ready for a black female president unless it was someone who truly earned their respect and stood on business. Kamala Harris has no spine. You think about the amount of hatred and attacks that the first female president is going to get, being told that they're moody and that they're a bee and that they're all these different things. It takes a certain woman of strength to be able to handle that, and that's just not Kamala Harris. She has too much social anxiety for that and too many insecurities for that.
So, quote of the night, Kamala Harris does not stand on business.
She does not.
No.
She is sat. She is sat still.
Emily, how are you feeling right now?
Let me joke.
Hey, let's have a little cheers. 'Cause,
Cheers.
hey, so far, the night is going our way, even though PTSD
Yeah, because of last time.
because of last time. But I think that so far, I mean, Georgia's looking great. Virginia's looking amazing.
Things have changed.
We have-
People are changed.
Yeah, people are changing, and I think black men might be a major conversation over the next month or so that have made a major flip. I was voting earlier this morning, and I know that a lot of people are saying like men are not turning out, but they were like half the people. I sat in line for almost a little over an hour and a half today to vote here in Florida, and half of the people in line were men. They're voting.
So you think they are showing out?
Oh, they're showing up. At least, in the state of Florida, I believe that they did.
It was 50-50
And
where
I had
it
a
was.
cut, and even some of the I mean, again, my apartment that I'm registered to vote in is I live in a predominantly black community. I think it's like I was looking at the voter statistics, and like 65% is black in my actual county. So, I mean, I was like I was probably 20% of the people that were there were actually white or Hispanic. Everyone else is black in line. And I was getting fist pumps as I was like walking up. And they're
Were
like,
you wearing that shirt?
Oh, I was wearing the shirt. I was wearing the hat. And I
You were
knew
legally allowed to?
I was. They let me. They didn't say nothing.
I was not allowed
And
to.
I knew that like they were like, oh, nice shoes, bro. Nice shoes, bro. And they were saying like nice shoes because it was like the one way they could compliment me without like. But even one guy was like, love the hat. And so I think black men actually might be one of the biggest. What's the word I'm looking for?
Contributing factors
Contributing
Trump winning.
factors to possibly a Trump win so far, at least in the state of Florida, which Florida was already called. Emily, how are you feeling right now? As we're about almost 2 hours in, we're gonna get a dump in about 5 minutes from polls closing, so we're excited to see what Fox has to say here soon. But how are you feeling 2 hours in currently?
Like, I know.
Oh, cheers, by the way.
Yeah, I
cheers.
was like, well, let's.
I forgot about the cheers.
Cheers.
To black men.
Cheers to black men. Cheers to Xavier.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm actually Chinese and Haitian.
I like.
Are you really?
Yes. I am black too, just a little bit.
I feel like he is going to win. I think I'm trying to dance around these so I don't get in trouble.
Say it with your chest.
Perfect, honest world. I think it would be a landslide, honestly. We talked about, I was just on Dave Rubin's show, and I was saying, there's not one, I know so many people. I grew up in Los Angeles. I'm on the internet all day. I talk to people all around the country, all around the world. More people than I'd like to on a daily basis. There's not one human that went from a Trump supporter to a Kamala Harris supporter, because no one supports her. They only do now because she's presented in front of them and they have no other option. They hate Trump. But I am in Los Angeles, so a lot of my friends are former and current leftists. They're in the trans flag people. They're in they want to be in Netflix. They're actors. And the thing is, all these
They're
people,
actors.
you know what I mean? And it's like all these people are voting for Trump. And the thing is, people are forgetting about such a huge majority of people, which are the silent people and the liars.
Right.
All these people are either secretly voting for Trump and they're not talking about it, or they're telling people they're voting for Kamala and they're voting for Trump. Because I have people tell me this every day because they don't want to lose their Netflix specials or they don't want to not be on these shows. And it's like, that is a huge portion of people. And you know, California had a great turnout. It was up by 4% Republicans early voting, and it was down. It was down in Democrats because they've ruined our state and people are sick of it, and the crime is out of control. So I'm very hopeful. There's just a lot of shady stuff going on, and I hope it all gets sorted out in time.
Well, I mean, speaking about crime, I mean, Xavier, you just finished up a documentary about crime specifically in California. That you have, I mean, you went undercover and exposing some of the stories that, because I know something that you're passionate about is propaganda, and we spoke about this earlier. And I think the biggest source of propaganda is actually the stories that were untold. So, I mean, how do you think crime and, I mean, weak politicians, is it district attorneys, DAs within California, source back? We see this in New York and California. I mean, how do you think that the way that the district attorneys in these local communities have affected the votes that we're seeing so far today?
Well, you know, a lot of the progressive DAs, because people are finally starting to pay attention to DAs. And for those that are watching, my documentary is called Their Lives Mattered. It's on PragerU, talking about how children were being murdered because of gang violence, and it's just completely being ignored because of these progressive DAs. But you look across the country, you look at people like George Gascon in LA, you look at Kim Foxx over in Chicago and Baltimore, Philadelphia, etc. These DAs have completely allowed their cities to go to the trenches. It is ridiculous how every single new policy seems to be in favor of putting criminals back on the street and giving protections to criminals. And it's to the point where even police officers aren't even allowed to do their jobs because of how just degraded and disenfranchised these law enforcement agencies have gotten, and what these DAs are allowing to fly. I mean, you have at least 5 states already that have completely gotten rid of cash bail, meaning your homegirl can come pick you up from jail pretty much, and you're just back on the streets killing more people. You have the 3 strikes rule being completely tiptoed around by so many of these district attorneys, which again is putting these criminals back on the street. They're not prosecuting crimes. And I mean, just Emily, I know, has a bunch of stories, just the things that you've been through with people coming up to you, and then you're not even able, there's no point almost in you going to the police because nothing's going to happen.
Oh yeah, and then you go to the police and they're either Republican police and they're like, we are not allowed to do our jobs. We are so sorry. Like, we have no control over this. Please don't hate us. Or the one liberal cop I ran into who apparently, I don't know, loves protecting liberals' free speech, not protecting my safety at all. But yeah, I mean, these police literally are like, the DAs do not allow us to do our job. If we do, we are going to be fired. And these are people who drive hours to work every day and have families, and they can't just lose their jobs. I mean, they literally will be fired.
Do y'all feel like even in like California, in Los Angeles, that we finally hit a tipping point where people are just finally fed up with it?
Yeah, the crime is insane.
Yeah.
Like, I have a group chat of almost 200 girls. Like, I'm pretty sure almost every single person in that group chat
That must be the most popping group chat ever.
It's insane. By the way, these girls, we should literally get rid of the FBI and CIA and just have women run it. Anything in the world you need to find, you can literally ask these girls. That's how they found the guy that attacked me, and we found all his information.
I'll never forget. I mean, I lived in Los Angeles for about 7 years, and you guys have been. I mean, I moved to Florida after COVID. But I remember when I came back to LA a year ago, and I came back to I was staying at my buddy's place in North Hollywood which is where I used to live. And I'm like, so what's LA like? How has it changed in the last 4 years? Like, bro, it's different now. Like, we don't wear our watches. We don't wear our gold chains. Like, if you walk down the street, like, you're always looking over your shoulder. It's a different city than it was just in 4 years. And that's because they're not tough on crime. And it just shows that, which is why I love what we're doing. Because like you're backing actually a Democrat district attorney. I know, I mean, we shouldn't say that a lot, but you're right now backing.
No. This is something Republicans like need to actually like open their eyes about and be realistic. I'm in California. Do you want to be murdered on the street, or would you rather back a sane Democrat?
Right.
Of course, when people are like, well, how could you back him? He's voting for Kamala Harris. Because that doesn't matter. This matters right now.
Right.
What matters is us and our safety. Every single person, whether you are rich or poor, has been affected by crime in Los Angeles. Like, no one is safe. When the billionaires aren't safe anymore, there's a serious issue. When more people are getting robbed in Beverly Hills than like Compton and like downtown LA, it's a really big issue. So that's the thing. I'm like, yes, I'm going to, first of all, I support sane Democrats, and I'm friends with a lot of them. And let's be real, a Republican is not realistically going to win. So I'm like, choose your path, but to not back someone who's actually trying to save your own city, I think you're insane.
Well, and so many people think that even us as conservatives or Republicans, that we don't know how to reach across the aisle. And I honestly, a lot of you guys, I've had so many conversations with all of you where you actually disagree with our own party or the way that we completely align. But at the end of the day, the mission doesn't change. Like we know what we're going for, and right now, really quick, we do have a projected winner for the country of Ukraine.
Oh my God, I was about to. I had the worst anxiety first.
I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but right now, Ukraine has projected that Kamala Harris will win.
I believe it.
They would be happy, wouldn't they?
Yeah, she could go with Zelensky's wife back to Cartier, where she dropped $120,000 of our taxpayer dollars.
Isn't this funny right now? Like Nebraska was just called for Trump.
Too.
Nebraska was just called for Trump, 26% in, but he's down 16 points. Like, how the heck do they get these numbers? I really.
Well, I don't know. I feel like we got to be iffy with these. You know what I mean? You kind of gotta hold out as long as you can.
Minnesota is definitely a state that we're going to be watching, obviously, because that is one state that obviously typically goes.
Colorado. Enjoy all those immigrants taking over your apartment buildings. Enjoy, Democrats.
That was quick. New Mexico is too soon to call currently, but Georgia. I will say I'm looking at Georgia's numbers right now. Georgia looks really good for Trump. Across the board with every single county. I'm looking at every single county right now. But again, with Georgia, I have this PTSD that I'm so scared to even.
What percent is in right now?
I'm looking at the counties currently. I mean, this is currently right now. I mean, Trump is just winning by a landslide in so many other counties. But let me pull up Georgia's numbers currently.
Kamala Harris should be humiliated because she honestly could have won in a landslide. If she would have played her cards right, Kamala Harris could have swept this.
What would you have done if you were Kamala Harris?
not talked at all.
You know what?
Never spoke.
Let me hear it.
Well, Clarkson made a great point earlier. When talking about Kamala Harris, he was like, I think Kamala would have had a better chance if Biden backed out like 2 weeks before the election versus
absolutely. Think about the momentum that she had and the excitement and the joy around her campaign when she first. No one ever liked her before that,
right?
And then everyone loved her for 2 weeks.
Yep.
And then she kind of fell off.
She did.
Well, then every time she talked, her ratings went down.
That's why she should have done the Katie Hobbs approach. If she would have been like Katie Hobbs going up against Carrie Lake, one of the main reasons that she beat Carrie Lake is because she wasn't doing media. And if she was, it was a very safe space for her. Right. She wasn't doing debates. She basically just stayed in her basement. If Kamala Harris would have stayed in the same basement Joe Biden kept her in for all these years, I honestly feel like between that and like what Clarkson said, just held off booting Joe Biden out for maybe another month or two, we would still be in the honeymoon of Kamala Harris. But instead, everybody was able to see through her because she goes up and just has a mental breakdown on stage, sounding like a stroke victim in real time. And now it's like people are able to see just like, girl, you have nothing to offer us. You should have just gaslighted us for a little bit longer, then you could have swept this country. So I'm glad she didn't.
And just so that you guys know, Katie Hobbs was the one that was running for senator in Arizona. Governor in Arizona. And it's so true. Like, Democrats do better when they just don't talk.
And it's so funny because then they actually win and then they do nothing. And then people vote for them again.
And it's also so crazy that's actually like accepted amongst us citizens. It's like, oh yeah, they're just going to not talk to us for a few weeks. That's cool. We don't need to know anything about them.
Right. Literally.
Oh, it's like the fact that people actually forget right now that Biden is our president.
Yeah. The vegetable.
Trump has been acting like our president for like 12 years now.
Yeah, no, seriously.
And he's done more work. And it was so funny. It's even when that guy was yelling at me saying I support, guys who sexually assault people. I was like, well, what about some other accusations? He was like, well, he's not running. And I was like, but he's the current president.
And I'm sure you voted for him.
Yeah, and I was like, so it's only okay if the person's running? I was like, you're all out of your mind.
So we are 66% in for Georgia currently, which I think this is the most pressing state that we're watching. And we just got a new dump for Georgia, 66% in. We have a little over... we have 1.8 million votes remaining.
Look at that, 70% in for Fulton County.
Oh, does it say that? 70% in for Fulton, but actually 27% for Trump is actually not bad out of Fulton County. But right now, Trump is winning by a little over 200,000 votes in the state of Georgia. He's winning 52 to 46%. I think all eyes are I can't believe that all eyes are on Georgia because 8 years ago, like Georgia was a given for red.
But I'm still happy to see what I'm seeing right now because it is really the first test of the night.
Correct.
Granted, we could not have the actual results until much later, but it is the first test.
Wait, when did Georgia go blue?
Let's go to North Carolina. Hey, can you play?
Is she still walking around?
Walking or
Waddling.
on a hospital bed? Sorry.
You know, she walked with that little waddle.
Hey, let's go to Fox News real quick because they're talking about North Carolina and also Georgia.
All right, 61%.
It is.
68%. 81%. But come in here for a little bit. This is Buncombe, all right? This is Asheville. You expect this to go blue. Indeed, it has right now, about 2/3 of the vote. No, sorry, 60% of the vote in. She's got 2/3 of the vote right now. But these counties here, you just wonder if there's an effect here, all right? Because 53, this is Transylvania. I was checking this out a short time ago. This is Rutherford, 72, but a lot of that vote's still out there. Why am I showing you this? Because your comparison for percentage is that you expect Trump to do well out here. 72, Henderson, 58. Haywood 62. So we're going to see through the night whether or not that storm damage had an effect on the vote turnout in North Carolina. Just keep that in mind as we move through the night. Also, I was just poking through here in Ohio. We saw this a moment ago based on a percentage spread. It seems like Trump is upping his number. Remember, I made the point that he won the state by 8 points in 2016, 8 points in 2020, and he was trailing there the last time we checked out the Buckeye State. But right now, the number has improved tremendously for Trump. So he's starting to track a little more toward that 8 points. And you were making the observation earlier about the Iowa poll from over the weekend. And do folks in Ohio vote like the folks in Iowa? If Ann Seltzer's poll, the Des Moines Register, had Kamala Harris win in Iowa by 3 points. A lot of people dismissed that. And if you're going to draw that comparison with Ohio, I think right now you can say that maybe Iowa's not going to go that way, but we'll see throughout the course of the night there.
I think we should get a cut from the Des Moines Register. We've mentioned her like 5 times this evening. I don't think they maybe like
that was
something,
the idea.
a little something for the mention.
Yeah, just because I popped it up, guys. I looked at it the first time here. Yeah, you're right about that, right? A little something on the side, a little backsheesh, right, Brett? Okay, so this is Michigan. It's the first time I've looked at it, all right? You got 10% in, all right? Look at this. Yeah. Robert Kennedy going to make a difference in Michigan? He is on the ballot. They tried to get him off the ballot. The court said, no, you got to be on the ballot. He's drawing 2,450.
At 10% in for Michigan currently. Kamala, obviously, she is up by about 50,000 votes. That's really nothing. Robert Kennedy getting 2,471 votes.
People are like, I'm
holding off.
I'm holding on.
But you know what, though? Those 2,400 could have gone Kamala, so I'm still with it.
That's true. What? What'd you say?
Sorry, I look fat as hell in that story he posted.
Who?
What? You're live right now, bro.
Look,
He's like, I look fine as hell on that Instagram.
No,
story.
fat. No, I just got done eating that Olive Gordon. I was looking chunky.
Olive Gordon.
I'm looking at
my bourbon.
Let's
you just got caught slipping.
I don't care. I meant what I said. I was looking chunky. It's okay.
I'm trying to look at
We're fine.
Well, real quick, I'm trying to see it. Look at these comments from you.
Go to my Instagram if you want to see the picture.
Don't do me.
People are praying for North Carolina. A lot of comments coming in. Reminds me of how they're just going
I
off
wonder how
about
all the states like flooded with immigrants are doing or how they're voting.
So
Just wondering.
I don't even know what to say right now.
Well,
Do you think we have a chance of winning if the entire blue wall goes blue?
If Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania all go blue, we have to pretty much win. I don't even know if we can. Can we win without the 3 blue? We have to win Arizona. We have to win Nevada. We have to win Georgia and North Carolina. I don't know what the numbers look like without that.
What's Nevada looking like?
Nevada, well,
they have a great governor.
Well, Nevada is currently like we won't know until about 3 weeks from now. So, but Nevada right now we have no reporting for Nevada. I just looked at it. Ohio, Trump's winning by 8% with a little over 50% in. Virginia, we have 50% in, and Trump is winning Virginia right now.
I don't know how Ohio could even be a struggle. All those corn-fed people know better.
All those corn-fed people.
I'm from Illinois, so I know a corn-fed state when I see one.
Let me see. I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to look at these other states. I'm very impressed by Florida because Florida went red really, really quick.
Texas so close.
Texas already went red, but I think Georgia is the big one that we're watching. We just got a new dump, almost 70% in for Georgia, 68%, and Trump is winning by a little over 220,000 votes for Georgia.
My president better work.
North Carolina, Trump is winning by 4%, which is a little over 130,000 votes. Only about 40% in for North Carolina currently. And then Pennsylvania, we only have very little in, 18%. And Kamala, Kamala's up by a little over 200,000 with 18% in.
And that's the one I'm curious about.
If Trump wins Pennsylvania, I think he wins. I think Pennsylvania is honestly the state that's going to tell us for the rest of the country. Back 8 years ago.
Corn-fed? I'm from Virginia.
Clarkson!
Come here, Clarkson.
Not Clarkson in
Come
here,
here,
clock
Clarkson.
me.
Here.
Hey, Clarkson.
Talk about.
Compare abs for
Here, come here.
Oh.
Here. Hey.
You saw me
Take
looking
my
chunky
chair.
on
He's
Take
got
my
his
chair. Talk
blanket
about
and everything.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's about to get messy in here.
Hello.
First of all, I was talking about Ohio. I didn't throw no shade at Virginia.
Virginia corn-fed.
I said Ohio. You just wanted to argue.
I did.
I'm like, it's all the same to me.
I was starting to feel like nobody was paying attention to me, so I had to make an entrance.
Fair.
Period.
My need for
Bro, you're
validation.
reminding me of Deadpool right now when he's lifting
I've
up
never
his leg on the
seen
couch.
that.
Oh
You never
my
seen
God.
that?
You know what? First of all, give it up for
funny.
Clarkson, you guys. Woo!
Emily, you know what scene I'm talking about?
Oh, that was
I love
so
those.
Just giving you the attention you needed.
Thank you. I feel a lot better. And I just ate, so we're all good now.
Oh, good.
Was it corn?
No. Anyways, so welcome to my show, everybody. I'm just kidding. What were you guys talking about?
Whatever you want.
Yeah, you tell us.
You tell us. What are we doing? What's going on?
I don't know. Do you think Trump's going to win? Do you think Kamala's going to win? Do you agree with Project 2025? I don't know. I'm just trying to
all
start
of it.
drama.
I actually hope to be the face of it by the end of this year.
You kind of are with the slavery.
Thank you.
So, Emily, what do you think about slavery?
Like, what about it?
Actually, just why don't you just clarify your statement?
Right.
Because I feel like
And give context to like the viral video.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
like-
you know what? Actually,
Speak your piece.
now that I'm
Mama
here,
cook.
multiple things about this. We were talking about abortion, and if you watch a 4-hour podcast clip, and you know, well, if you don't watch it and then you believe 10 seconds, you're stupid. Therefore, that's why I don't mind when people clip these things because it goes viral. I make money at the end of the day. I'm not an idiot.
And
So
just to clarify too, it was you and a raging liberal.
yeah, okay. So here's the thing with this kid, because yeah, cute. He's like, and if you want to say he's intelligent, I think he's like autistic. So he sits there and he's good at memorizing things. That doesn't make you smart. That makes you good at memorization. I sit there and I'm like, I'm inherently right, so I don't need to debate you. He's like, because he's losing. Because I don't care enough for him to convince me, he has to do these big statements where it's like you take something no matter what when you answer it. Not only is it wrong, but it's like so dramatic. And so he basically was like, I was talking about abortion, which is so funny because you have a liberal arguing with a pro-choice Republican. We're literally on the same page.
Right.
So the fact that you're even arguing with me, you're dumb.
Yeah.
That means you're trying to argue a statement you agree with. How stupid could you possibly be? And he was like, he was like, well, how do you feel about it? And then, by the way, he was going on to tell me like, oh, are IUDs, abortions, all these things. I'm like, this is so stupid. By the way, this is very insulting when Americans are literally dying every day. And you're like sitting here using your platform to be like, oh, are IUDs murder? Okay, so you're dumb. So anyways, I was like, I think it should be state by
This is
state.
Emily clarifying.
I should be, because the whole thing was so stupid.
Short
And by the way,
clarification.
he had to cut out. He had to cut out everything because he was so dumb and crying behind the scenes. So he was like, I was like, it should be state by state, which it is. I'm fine with that. And I said, if everybody in the state wants something, by the way, I'm saying if everybody in the state wanted to have like electric car chargers and they
Right.
all wanted it, great. If they all wanted no fluoride in their water, fantastic. But what does a liberal do? They have to go straight to, oh, so you support slavery? Okay. First of all, do you really think I support slavery? Second of all, are you talking
Wait,
about...
how did slavery come into the conversation? Because I haven't seen this clip.
I literally was talking about abortion, and I said if everybody in the state wants it, should they have it?
So he was saying, like, if everyone in the state wants slavery, should you be able to have slavery?
So he therefore went to the most unrealistic thing to ask me, and I literally jokingly went, sure. sure, dum-dum.
Clip.
And then boom, clip.
End of
Now
discussion.
I understand slavery. And I was like, oh, okay, you want to talk about liberals? I was like, let's talk about the fact that there is a lot of slavery going on in the world. But you know what, for a subject you're so passionate about, you're going to come at me about, I don't see you doing anything talking about child trafficking going on at the border, slavery around the world. I don't see you ever bringing up that, but apparently when I make a joke, it's the end of the world. So that's what he had to do. Because the thing is, when you don't have an argument, you have to make up hypotheticals. With how much stuff is going on in the world, you don't need to make up hypotheticals. There's so much real stuff going on. You could just ask me a question about that. But yeah, so that was the clarification, if anyone needed it.
So she was being sarcastic in short.
I literally went, sure. Imagine being so dumb you can't tell that I'm going, sure. Sure, yes, that's great.
Well,
Callie's leaving.
Bye, Callie.
Bye.
So the average American's retarded.
Yeah,
it's kind of what we
literally.
Can I say that on YouTube?
No.
Oh,
I would.
my
You
bad.
did.
And
It's already there.
And
Well,
did.
whatever.
So the average, no shade, all tea.
This is why people tune in to the late night show.
So many people are just wildly unintelligent and
Yeah.
just have no ability to decipher what is sarcasm, what is humor versus like what's actual reality.
Yeah.
Because the amount of people I've been harassed by about you being like, why are you hanging out with her? Don't you realize that she wants to enslave you? It's like, really? Really? If anything, she's a slave.
This is also the funniest thing about Emily. You get so much hate, but you are the sweetest person in person.
She will cut you though, so don't be fooled.
Thank
Don't
you.
try it.
I feel like it's funny because you guys spend so much time with me, and it's like, have you ever heard me say something where you're like, oh my god, that's like insane, that's horrible, that's so out of pocket? It's like probably
Out of
not.
pocket, yes.
Well, out
for
of
sure.
pocket.
You're a little crazy.
Well, because I
but-
love my conspiracies and stuff like that, but it's like in no world would I literally be like, I think we should bring back slavery, which is crazy because I was like, I'm sitting next to a liberal who completely ignores all the sex
I'm watching
trafficking and
TV.
slavery going on, and I'm like, I'm actively trying to bring attention to it, to fight it and stop it. Also, I'm like, what time period of slavery are we talking about? Are we talking about one color of people? Are we talking about one religion of people? Actually, let's go ahead. I was like, why don't you clarify that statement?
Clarkson, what's
No.
going on in your head right now?
Fox News projects Trump wins Ohio.
Look at them corn people
I don't know if
go.
you guys already talked about that. I don't know. I was just checking if something was in my teeth.
Well, it was wasn't it starting to skew, or it wasn't that big of a gap? I think the gap just widened.
Have they
so we
called
love
anything
that.
else
But when it says in 1%,
They've
that means
called quite a
1%
lot.
of votes are in.
for Maryland?
I don't think
So,
they
like,
called anything that
Maryland's
wasn't
so high.
expected, though.
You know those
We don't know.
Baltimore people can't do much.
But
They're-
we
they're
haven't
a
had
little
anything
slow.
for Michigan, Wisconsin.
Let's see
Pennsylvania,
how many
Arizona.
different cities and states Xavier disses before tonight's over.
I will drag most of this.
Oh, I call
country.
them literally all flyover states. I've only been to
I
New
love
York, LA,
everybody
and
in
Miami.
this country.
Are you
in all the
serious?
states.
And Florida now. Yeah.
Florida now.
Well, like Orlando now. I feel like if you go to Miami, it's not really like you're like in Florida. It's like it's Miami. You know what I mean? So it's like now I've been to 3. Well, technically
We in
Vegas.
Miami.
Shout out to Wake Up with Linda for helping flip Miami-Dade County. She did a lot of great work.
Good
by
for
the
her.
way, if you guys know her.
So,
Cheers.
I'm just saying.
Cheers to Wake Up with
But
Linda.
like also it's just crazy. Like 10%. Like what are you supposed to know? Like 10%. Also, are these people in
Wait, what's
person?
your
Are these
problem?
mail-in ballots?
I'm confused.
Do we know? Like so when it says in 23%, does that mean 23% of the votes are in?
23% of the
Yes,
votes
that's
are
exactly
counted.
what it means, Emily.
Are these both votes? Are these ballots like in person
This
and
is
mail-in?
what's counted.
all of
Yes, but
them.
that's what's counted.
Okay.
So
Well-
yeah.
Okay.
So yes, Emily, at 3%, that means 3% of the votes are in.
Yeah, that's like who cares about
Counted.
3%?
Can
You're
we
not
talk
gonna
about?
know.
Can we talk about
Well,
Project 2025,
sometimes
though?
they're able to like look at. Sometimes they can look ahead because they can see like which counties have not been counted yet, and those counties like always vote one way, so they're able to project a little bit.
They
further
normally
ahead.
go
Yeah.
over the counties that are in, but we have it on mute. So
Minnesota.
Move around everybody on mute.
You want Fox on?
no, I mean I don't know. Is anything closing soon? What time is it?
No, we got time.
9:20. We've probably got 10 minutes before.
We've got time and opportunity.
You see them just like freaking
So
machines.
I'm tired of arguing with people about Project 2025 because people are like, "What do you think about it?" It's like I don't think about it because it has nothing
Yeah.
to do with my president. My president
gotta
had
debate
nothing
this
to do with
again
that.
now.
The Heritage Foundation, no shade to them, shout out to them. They fed me well recently.
Shout
Literally,
Conflict of interest.
I can get a meal from anywhere. I just went to a little function they had. And I was eating good.
Jordan just fed me. I'll stick up for him now.
Exactly. I'll take a plate. One thing about me, I'm gonna take a plate.
I thought the Heritage Foundation was lovely.
No, they are lovely
I would
people.
work with them.
But the thing
I
is,
love them so much too because I don't want to get married.
Oh,
but the thing is they don't have anything to do with your rights. They are not going to take your rights away.
so Clarkson, do you actually think that Project 2025 would be implemented if Trump wins?
No, but I'm saying
Aspects of
that
it, or what?
I think that it's naive to think that a conservative think tank has nothing to do with the conservative party.
But there are so many. Well, no, That's
one that makes millions of dollars and lobbies and spends millions of dollars telling politicians what to vote on. It is idiotic to sit here and tell everybody
They
who
make this
has
list every
a
4
problem
years.
with They make it every 4
So
years,
either way,
but
it's gonna be
they're
connected
still
to
in
the
business, aren't
Republican
they? They're still
candidate.
making millions of dollars. It's not just Trump. Trump's not going to implement it, but Trump's not in the legislative branch. He's not the one writing the laws. He's just signing the ones that pass or vetoing the ones. So it's not Trump that's the problem. It's the fact that this is attached to the Republican Party.
So like if
On
the
that
fact
we
was
agree.
the next
Yeah,
president,
I'm
would they
not
just,
going to argue
like,
with you on that.
Yeah, that was
wouldn't
T.
it just be connected as well? So it's connected to the whatever Republican president is there?
No, so basically, it's like they make a wish list of if you were to be the most conservative nation ever, what would you implement? So they make this wish list, and then like if the president is open to it, he can promote it, or if there are different Congress people and legislators, et cetera, that want to take that as inspiration, then they can.
I
so
see
when
like
you
nothing
say
weird about that.
there isn't, but it's like I
Literally.
get it though.
It's not
I
weird.
see
It's
what you're
normal
saying.
practice. I just disagree with the things that they're pushing.
Yeah.
Right, which that's a fair argument. And it is fair to be concerned that they are trying to connect with the Republican Party when they do that. I understand that.
Yeah.
But the people who are using that as a reason to attack Trump, it's like, no, you need to be looking at your Congress people if that's the thing.
No, I think
not
that,
at the
that would
president.
be valid if somebody were to say, I'm worried about Project 2025. I'll vote for Trump, but I'm going to vote for Democrats down ballot on everything else. I would be like, that's a valid
Some
thing
people
to
do that.
Yeah.
Very reasonable.
But I think that completely disavowing Project 2025 is like, that would be like conservatives saying that they aren't scared of the World Economic Forum. Because what was Agenda by 2030, everybody was talking about how that's going to take away all of our rights.
That was kind of tea. I ain't got nothing
I also,
to say.
to be fair though, like I saw Sheila Nazarian posted, like she had the whole Project 2025, and she was like, if you guys have an issue with like every single one of those, I'll explain to you and you can talk to me about it. And I was like, it's kind of funny because like, let's be real, like everyone on the left, like they are literally, it's just like fear porn that they're like, creating. Because it's like, I guarantee if you ask one of those people, like name 2 things out of like what they probably posted hundreds of things, they would have no idea. And like also you can't just read a bullet point or a headline. You really need to read what's in
it's like
it
900
inside.
pages.
Yeah. What Democrat read those 900 pages except for ones that were like potentially paid for and like actually was like, I disagree with this? Because I think she was doing that and I was like, that's very impressive. I should have done that. That's called doing the work. I respect her for that. My thing was just like,
better than me.
I think they're great and I'd love to work with them.
Shout out to Heritage. I like a lot of what Heritage does. There were things in Project 2025 that was like, okay, I can understand this, and there were other things I was just totally against. But that's the thing, is like it makes the room for discourse based on this list of ideas.
Yeah, and also Heritage, I mean, yes, they're a big one, but they're just one thing. There are so many think
Yeah,
tanks.
that's true.
Yeah, they're just like the biggest one.
And also,
Yeah, they're
I'm
a big
like,
one, but still.
there's gonna be crazy stuff on both sides. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
That's sarcasm.
Sorry. Yeah, see, I'm showing what Emily did in her interview with the dean.
yeah.
Okay,
Teaching
I
my
am
sarcasm.
curious what's going on in Nashville. Like, is Nashville really going extremely blue? And what's like?
No,
what's the
I think
culture?
it's so mixed. I mean, like every neighborhood of Nashville is completely different. Like where I live in like the Gulch area, I think they're going to vote mostly red. You go to East Nashville, mostly blue. But I will say this, and this is something I want to talk to y'all about actually. A lot of the people I knew that were in the middle, or even to the left a little bit, that were thinking about voting for Trump within the last like 2 weeks, snapped out of it and they went back to the left because of like the comedian's Costa Rico comments or
oh my God,
yeah.
Tony Hinchcliffe's joke. How dumb are these people?
But I mean, when you are on the edge like that,
This
though,
is how you get voters, you guys.
Oh my God.
Some people need to be belittled, and
Maybe
some
But
people
seriously,
like it.
seriously though.
sorry, I'm
seriously though, I mean, like
them.
that changed the minds of a lot of people, and those are people that Trump needs to vote for him.
Right.
Not just like in
I'm
Nashville,
sorry,
but like
were
in
these
swing states.
Were these Puerto Ricans in Nashville offended by a joke
Puerto
that
Ricans,
was based in 100% truth with a Google search? You can look. Do they know who Tony Hinchcliffe is? Do they know that like I'm sure they didn't run the jokes by president? Sorry, Republicans also should stand by the fact that like we need to have a sense of humor and not completely become the left. But also, by the way, if like Hispanic Democrat went out and did jokes, they would be perfectly fine with it. Like, let's be real. This is literally cancel culture once again. Like, if you are that offended by a joke that a comedian who's known for a very, comedic show that's supposed to like push the edges and like it's like literally supposed to be like racist and funny and crazy and pushing boundaries and sexist and whatever, everything, you know, the left hates. But it's just like, are you really okay? So you're fine. So the fentanyl's fine, the children getting trafficked fine, the rape,
Well,
the immigration.
I think
so all of that because a joke that doesn't even affect you. They have a problem with trash there. That's why it's literally a trash island.
So I think what it comes down to is that they 2016, 2020, you knew they were convinced Trump doesn't care about you if you're not a straight white male, right? Trump does well to fight against that narrative, for the most part at least, and then they start to think, okay, maybe he is a president for all Americans. Little things like that can completely change your mind.
I think the question is not should you be offended. The question is should the Trump campaign, should they have anticipated people being offended in their best interest to avoid any pushback that would potentially cost them the election?
Yeah, they should have had.
You have to look at it from a
mixed
macro.
female doing jokes.
No, I'm saying I don't think they should be offended either. But if I was a political consultant, I wouldn't advise Tony going to one of my political
That's kind
rallies.
of a crazy pick.
Right, exactly. So I think the question is, was this smart of the Trump campaign
Probably
or
not.
not?
But this is an ongoing issue that they have, and as much as I love the Trump campaign, it's like they don't think about how this ripple effect could actually affect you. And like the people that he allows into his spaces, sometimes it's like, even if Trump himself is not fully aware of who this individual is, there is a whole list of people who are supposed to gatekeep who is connected with the Trump campaign. And I don't think they're careful enough with that, because to go and do that kind of joke, it's like, yeah, I get it. We're anti-cancel culture and all of that. I don't care about none of that when it comes to this time of our election cycle where every single little thing is being looked at with a microscope. You can't go up there having these risque jokes like that and expecting it to not have any kind of negative impact, because it does over and over. Perfect example, when we were on Jubilee just a couple weeks ago, which was hell to film. It was 30 Democrats versus 30 Republicans. I got so mad because there was this guy Micah, super nice guy, super smart, but he wanted to go up and debate about abortion. And I said to the group, I was like, maybe we should have a woman go up there, because we get to nominate someone. We could either have a pro-choice Republican or a pro-life Republican, but let's have a woman go up there. And everybody started looking at me, be like, oh, you sound like DEI. No, what I sound like is I don't care about winning the debate. What I care about is winning over the viewer and the voter, because right now in the time that we're in, we need to win the voter. And the optics of having certain people going up there representing you, so in that case, having a male represent the abortion stance, never beating the misogynist allegations, and having this comedian go up there telling jokes that are pushing the envelope, it is not the time. Trump didn't need that. And all it did was a net negative, and his team needs to be more mindful of who they're putting on stage.
Well, it comes down to whether or not you're looking at things from a macro scale and how they affect everything versus what's happening in the moment. And I think that's kind of what you're alluding to, is in the moment on Jubilee, you're looking at, okay, we're filming a video where voters are watching. I'm thinking about the optics where they're just thinking in the moment, like,
gotta win this
say
debate.
Women? Why DEI?
Right.
Literally.
It's small brain
about
behavior.
perspective. It's about perspective.
And then we ended up
a lot of
being-
people don't have that.
Right.
Yeah, because then everybody in the comments was like, oh, of course the Republicans would have a man go up there. Y'all are really trying to snatch our rights away.
True.
It's like, who would have seen that coming?
Yeah.
My black ass did.
Yeah. And then it was so funny. It was so funny too, because I literally was like, you guys, if the whole point is to find a middle ground and I'm going to speak to a Democrat, why don't you have the woman who's pro-choice, who's not religious, go talk to, because the odds of me and that girl being similar, we're probably on the same page about almost everything. Because I guarantee if I grill her about late-term abortions and all that, she's not going to want to seem like a psycho. So she's not going to say that she's for all those things. So actually, me and her would probably have a very solid middle ground. But no, let's choose like the young male Christian pro-lifer. Oh, I'm sure him and her are going to have tons in common. I was like, y'all are the worst.
Yeah, I didn't go on that debate.
Yeah, well, good. You didn't.
You
waste
would
your
have crashed
time.
out. I
Yeah.
literally was about to pop off and go to jail. In fact, you can see in the episode when I tried to leave. I think it's during the abortion debate. You see, if you look in the background, you see me like sneaking past the camera. I give a dirty look, and then I start walking, and then you see me get turned around and
I was
put back
yelling
to
the
my
whole
seat.
time. I had no mic on me, but I was like, okay, I'll just scream loud enough so you guys can hear me on the mic. I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. But I was just like, yeah, I'm not surprised.
Do you think like the Trump campaign allowing, and I don't listen to the comedians, so tell me if I get the name wrong, Tony. Do you think it comes from them feeling like they have too much momentum? They get too cocky, too much bravado, and they think they can just do whatever. They can push the boundary a little bit more.
I think it's indicative of them not surrounding themselves with people who point out their flaws.
And this is something I agreed with you on when you were up here talking earlier. One of my big concerns with Trump is that he will surround himself with a bunch of yes men. People that will just say, yes, I'm loyal, allow him to do whatever he wants without...
Sorry. There's Ariana
Were you
Grande
singing?
Going,
I think the first time he had all snakes around him. Now he has yes men around him. He needs people to be honest and real. And, you know, the odds of that happening, I don't know. I think that's a tough situation no matter what.
I mean, flattery is kind of his kryptonite, if we're going to be so for real about it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's just like a notorious thing that.
I mean, didn't he attack Joe Rogan in the summer when he said one bad thing about him?
Yeah, Kayleigh McEnany too.
And Kayleigh McEnany, and then now the minute Joe Rogan endorses him, he's like, "Oh, I love Joe Rogan."
And Rihanna. Rihanna was alluding to being a Republican. And I remember when he lashed out at Rihanna. And Rihanna, I don't even think Rihanna had said anything to trigger him or to have anything directly to do with Trump. But he just like out of nowhere attacked Rihanna. And now Rihanna today is out there talking about, or she was in the comment sections defending Kamala Harris. But just like a year and a half ago, Rihanna was wearing a shirt in like the MAGA font saying, think while it's still legal.
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
know
I
you're
thought that
not
was
thinking that's the
photoshopped,
other
was
side.
it not?
No, that was
No,
real.
I think it's real.
That was real.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, it would be smarter for him to switch up who's around him. But then again, like, look at all the people that get to the top. Maybe not the best, most honest, well-intentioned group of people. So,
well, also, I mean, and I don't want to make this like a criticizing Trump party, but I think I'm here because we need some controversy. But I think that a lot of times conservatives will say, well, Trump's just not surrounded by the right people. And Trump just needs these people around him. And it's kind of like they're coddling a baby. It's like, at what point is Trump responsible for his own actions, just period? Because if it was Kamala, we would never say, well, Kamala's just surrounded by the wrong people. That's why she's not getting.
well, I think she has every other excuse in the book. They coddle her.
I'm not saying, I mean, apples and oranges. What I'm saying is that a lot of times Trump gets excuses made for him because people really see themselves in him. And I think that we have to look at him as a politician, and the right needs to go back to where we didn't like any politicians rather than making excuses for someone when they clearly make a
Trump
bad
getting
campaign
26%
move.
of Fulton County.
I think to me, he's not a
Pretty good.
he's not a politician, and I think the reason why I have more empathy to coddle him is because I think every single 3-letter agency and evil group of people on earth are literally after him. So he has so little. I mean, there's so much after him and against him that I'm like, I can't even imagine. Even just the own like fear for his life, his family, safety, and all that gives me a little bit more empathy. I don't think he's just some normal person or some normal person running for president.
I do want to add in, it's hard to say about who Kamala Harris is being surrounded by because Kamala Harris she can't keep a surrounding. Kamala Harris has an over 93% turnover rate. And I think that people don't pay enough attention to why these people keep saying that they're leaving. They're saying that working for her is absolutely a nightmare. They say that she is borderline incompetent. And this is from the people that have left her working for her. They say that she's borderline incompetent. They say that she is so insecure. She does not believe in herself that the way every single meeting that's like a major meeting that she has, she makes somebody pretend to be that person, do a whole reenactment because she isn't confident enough to walk into the room, sit down, shake hands, handle business. She has to do like practice run-throughs because she's so nervous about these different powerful people that she's going to be sitting down with. Kamala Harris, I almost feel empathy for her because she's a dangerously ambitious politician who probably just got way too far ahead than what her skill set is actually applicable for.
I agree with that. And I also do think that Kamala Harris will be criticized on who she keeps around her, just like Trump was.
Yeah,
because I think that Biden was, because when you think about Biden,
was he though?
Yes. Oh, I think everyone was talking about how he was
if
manipulated
Biden
by
said
everyone
something
around
out of
him.
Pocket, we wouldn't say, "Oh, Biden's surrounded by yes men." We would say Biden said something out of pocket.
Well, Biden's senile, so anyone that tells him what to do, he's going to do it because he doesn't know where he is or what's happening.
I think you guys are missing the
people put
correlation that
around.
I'm making here. It's not about the opposing specific politician. It's about the fact that there are double standards to Trump that I think that conservatives are not holding him accountable for, and it would benefit him if conservatives didn't coddle him, because then it would force him to actually learn from it, because he would get feedback in his own party. But instead, we all kind of create this like baby out of Trump, and then it forces him to not actually learn from his mistakes because they're never really his own fault.
But aren't we holding him accountable by saying, because I feel like when we say that Trump keeps too many yes men around him, we're essentially saying, Trump, open your eyes, be more careful with who's in your circle, because there's some people in your circle who are speaking against your future.
But at what point is it him? That's just
right now when I say it. If I say you're surrounding yourself by yes men, I'm saying you, Donald Trump, need to be careful with who you're having around you because they're gassing you up for your own downfall.
So when Trump changes his beliefs based off of the people that are around him, let's just use abortion for example. a lot of times people will say, oh, well, he needs to be surrounded by different people because his opinions change by the people he's surrounded by. At what point is that his own fault for changing his beliefs, for not having a strong moral stance?
Did he change his stance on that? I don't recall him changing his stance. I think that's a whole separate conversation of changing his stance. I don't think he did that.
I don't think he's changed his stance on a lot of things.
Well, not on abortion, but on some things, yeah. But I also don't.
He wasn't
view that
as open about it just going back to the States.
I also don't think Trump is like a hardcore
That's the whole point
conservative.
That's the whole point of overturning Roe v. Wade. The whole point of overturning Roe v. Wade.
But that's not what it was marketed
that.
as. He said that he was pro-life in 2016 and 2020, and now he's saying that it's a choice that should be left with the states, and it's a choice for the woman. Even Melania now conveniently comes out and is pro-choice right before
he's gone much more towards the center when he saw that that's where the American people were.
But I think that I don't judge that because I know even my stance on that has changed. And what I read from Trump.
But he doesn't admit that it changed. That's the thing. You can change your stance. I respect that in a politician, but he never does. He just backpedals.
No politician ever will.
I was going to say,
yeah, I mean, think about Kamala Harris.
That doesn't make it okay.
Yeah. Well, I get that, but what I'm saying is I feel like I align with Trump on this, and I could be reaching, but like I always say, I am ideologically pro-life, and I'm legislatively pro-choice. Meaning, like, yes, I am pro-life. Like, if somebody asks me, "Are you pro-life?" I'm like, "Yeah." Am I pro-choice? Also, yeah, because legislatively, I believe in a woman's right to choose in the first trimester, and it sounds like that's what Trump wants as well. But ideologically, I don't believe in abortion. I think abortion is murder, yada yada yada. And my stance on that has shifted over the last couple of years as I have heard more perspectives, done more research, understood the issue more. So that is my stance on it. And I can be more vocal about that because I'm not a politician. That's why I never want to be a politician. Love it or hate it.
But I thought Trump wasn't a politician.
He is. And I don't like that argument either because on that,
because he never gave that answer that you just gave.
I know, because he's a politician now.
Exactly.
So it's
that is actually the answer that Kamala Harris gave.
Kamala Harris?
Yeah, that she went around, talked to a lot of people, heard a lot more perspectives and everything, and now that's why her positions have changed. And people on the right attacked her for changing all of her positions.
And on certain things, I respect that. What I don't respect is the way she changed on the border, because they spent all these years, the Democrats spent years reading us for filth about the border and then flipped overnight about the border. Now, when Kamala, don't get me wrong, I have my fair share of Kamala Harris criticisms, but there are things that I respect about her too. And her being able to admit that in that situation, I can respect that. But what I don't respect is to blatantly lie and make it seem like you have been the party of secure borders for all this time. Yeah. Stand 10 toes down on the fact that you have changed your mind and perspective about some of the things with the border. Admit that you had it wrong. Then I would have respected the left more if they would have been like, you know what, we realized we effed up. The border got out of control.
Absolutely.
We didn't see it
and then she's asked, would you change anything about what you did in the Biden administration? She says no. It's like, okay, but you learned all these new things, right? Your perspective has changed. You have different insights now. But yet, everything you would just do the exact same.
So now you're lying again instead of actually just being honest and following through. And she did it with she's done it with a million things. I mean, but the thing is, she is a politician in the fact that she is shifting for whatever is convenient and works for her at the same time. Like, I would never trust a word that comes out of her mouth. I think she's a pathological liar.
Okay, I'm gonna be done after this because I'm almost done. I promise. I'm going to use COVID as another example because Trump does not take responsibility for the way COVID was handled. And everybody says it's the people around him. That's why he was being pressured. He was this, he was that. But if it was Biden, I know damn well we would be saying Biden is the reason that COVID was handled this way. So I think that's another double standard. Also, I think Trump printed a lot of money when he was president, and to say that his administration has nothing to do with inflation when it takes 12 months for inflation to actually hit when you print that amount of money, and conveniently our inflation got the worst at 12 months after they passed all of those stimulus bills, yet nobody talks about the fact that Trump is responsible for that. Or if you do, they say, oh, well, he was surrounded by the wrong people. So what I want from the Republican Party is for people to actually hold the politicians, because Trump is a politician now, accountable for their lies, because when we have these parasocial relationships with them and when things happen to them, we see their humanity and they validate our belief system, and then we don't actually hold them accountable to the standards we're holding the other side to.
I think... Oh, you want to go?
I just think that's a very fair statement.
I'm going to leave and give it back to Jordan. Bye, guys.
I'm just going to say really quick as we transition in that, and I wish Clarkson was still here a little bit so we get to read this. We'll get some tea on that later. But, my thing with COVID is I hate having the COVID debate because to me that's just so unserious. Because when you think about yes, I don't think that Donald Trump, in retrospect, handled COVID the best. But at the same time, it's like, how can you fault him for that? This is a situation that nobody on our side was prepared for in any regard. So COVID, pretty much anything you do, we were kind of effed. Like, this was a global pandemic. People literally thought that they were turning into zombies.
Yeah.
Like, there was so much chaos happening during that I think it's unfair to be like, oh, you weren't a great politician because you did a terrible job in this freak situation that nobody could have possibly seen coming in 20 years, but except for Hillary Clinton. So now it's like when we're having conversations about what the next 4 years look like, I don't even want to have a conversation about COVID because COVID isn't, God willing, is not going to happen again. But a conversation we can have is about the jab mandates, because people try to get mad at him about the jab in general. It's like, no, he did what he was supposed to do, was try to expedite a vaccine. He's not a scientist. He doesn't know what they're putting into this. Be so effing for real. But when it comes to the mandates that Joe Biden put forth, that is a conversation worth having. And Kamala Harris, that's a conversation worth having, because that was something that can be repeated when you try to force us to do something medical with our bodies. That's a discussion to have again. But as far as how we financially handled a global pandemic that was once in a millennium, please,
and
irrelevant conversation.
Let's add to that inflation. Why do we have such bad inflation? Oh, I'm sorry. Who voted to lock down the country and shut down businesses? And who was okay with BLM burning the country? Who was that?
Blue states.
Those were blue states, and those were Democrats.
Clock
so
it.
if you really want to talk about inflation, let's talk about the fact that you guys knowingly shut down the entire country for what is now on the CDC's website, a flu. You should be
cleared.
Having trials.
And people are trying to fix that now by banning price gouging.
It's so funny. They will never take responsibility for inflation. Of course, the pandemic was why we have this inflation. You can talk about little things that have added to it. You literally shut the country down and people lost all their jobs and money. And then cool, he gave them a couple $1,000s. Like, oh, please.
Well, let's get an update. Amazing conversations. And
so we were clearing over here.
Period.
You know, one thing about Clarkson, he gonna get it popping. I love Clarkson because he really will get us.
That's why I love having Clarkson.
He knows how to stir the pot. That's for
Right.
sure.
Yeah. He was like, "Not you talking about my home state."
Wasn't even his state.
Right.
For a second,
and then called me big backs, low key. He's like, "Let's compare abs." Oh, damn.
I thought
Left here with my scalp.
I thought he was hairy for a second. I'm just joking.
Oh, now the Harry says that he's gonna clock you when you get out of here.
I love Clarkson, and honestly, like, he does bring a whole nother perspective, even though like he aligns more with what we believe. Like he is a voice for those that are. Do I feel like I'm aligning with everything that we're talking about currently? So, anyways, to kind of get an update where we're at right now. Trump has 195 delegates, so he's we're about what 75. He's 75 away from getting the W. Pennsylvania's coming in right now, 32% in. He's about 5 points down.
And I think I need glasses. I can't see
back
anything.
on that.
That's really
But
close.
here's
That's better than it was earlier.
Trump right now, he's got 195. Harris at 117. If you add California, Oregon, and Washington, which we pretty much know is going to go blue. I mean, we got a neck and neck tie. But the states that we're currently watching, Georgia, where we're at right now with Georgia, we have about 77% in currently. And Trump is ahead of about a little over 230,000 votes, 52% Trump, 47% Harris. So that is, I mean, obviously, right now it's all eyes on Georgia.
Georgia's cooking.
Stacey
Stacey Abrams, get off the floor.
Right? Seriously. Literally. And then, honestly, one of the biggest shockers of the night so far is Virginia. Virginia, Trump is winning by 2%, which is about 50,000 votes, and we have 58% in.
Wow.
Virginia should have been blue by, I mean, a good shot, but then again, we're still waiting for some counties to come in, but every single county so far has been reported.
How did Virginia vote in 2016? I can't recall.
I wish.
Does anyone remember?
Well, I know it went blue. I just don't know exactly
how close it was.
But it wasn't within the margin of error. And right now, Trump is up by about 60,000 votes. Another dump just came in, and Trump is a bigger lead, about a little over 60,000 votes now. So we have Trump's winning Virginia so far currently. And then the other state that we're watching, Wisconsin. Currently, Wisconsin it is neck and neck, 8,000 vote difference with 24%. So I mean, we got like a split tie currently with Wisconsin. Let's go to Michigan. I know Michigan just is coming in. Michigan, we have about 13% in, and Kamala's up by about 50,000 votes. So I mean, I think what we're going to be watching over the next couple of hours is the blue wall, which is Wisconsin, Michigan. Minnesota's even in play, which is crazy. Minnesota, we have about, well, actually it's fresh. Trump's winning by about 3,000 votes in Wisconsin, but those votes are just coming in currently. But Trump is leading. And then Pennsylvania, we have 33% in, and Kamala's winning by about 70,000 votes. So, I mean, we got Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin that are all way too close to call. Virginia, Trump is leading. Let's check North Carolina. North Carolina, which is a big... Trump has to win North Carolina. 63% in. Trump is winning by 165,000 votes. 52% going Trump right now, and we have 63% in. So right now, I think the two states to watch before the Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, we're watching currently North Carolina and Georgia. I will say this. I'd rather be on with, we have about 20 minutes left till we sign off here for tonight. If I had to pick a side, non-bias, which side I would rather be on right now, I would probably say the Trump side.
Yeah.
He took Florida in a landslide. Ohio just went...
Look at all that red.
Just went red for Trump. So there hasn't been any upsets on the right so far.
Yeah, my eyes just on that blue wall right now.
The
That's
blue
what
wall
I'm so
is what
curious
to
about.
watch, which is the Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
Yep.
Where's Texas at? It looked like Texas is
Texas
more
went red.
close than I expected.
No, Texas went red.
I know it went red.
They
I'm
called
just
it.
surprised it looked so close.
I'm surprised it's so blue. It's probably because everyone's stupid flagged California and then they went to go ruin Texas.
No, literally, that's what I'm thinking.
Trump
Maybe
is,
Beto O'Rourke just made some waves.
Trump is
Them
Trump's
cringe ass TikToks.
We got 65% in for Texas, and Trump is up by 1.2 million, which is not a lot. I mean,
Right.
it
For
is
Texas, it's not a
obviously
lot.
it's a lot of votes, but for Texas,
That like scares me.
Right.
The thought of Texas not being like hardcore red, like literally like terrifies me.
It's like, do y'all not want a wall?
Yeah, what is this?
I know.
Yeah, talk about a place being hit hard, probably like, almost the hardest by like immigration and all these things.
And immigration of Californians going and
Yeah,
ruining
literally,
that
and us
state.
ruining their state.
Same thing with Colorado. They're all going to Texas, ruining Texas.
It's
It's
crazy.
like-
I live in Nashville, and like I was telling y'all earlier, I'm seeing so many Nashville influencers that have just come to Nashville from California or New York.
Yeah, to ruin it as
talking about how everyone needs to get out and vote for Kamala. It's crazy.
Now,
Ghetto.
so far for the Senate, we have 47 in the Senate for Republicans, 38 for the Democrats. Obviously, we have way more red states reporting currently, but we have one flip seat, which I believe was from Virginia, or is that West Virginia? From
Mansion.
no, West Virginia for Manchin. So we have one flip seat for Republicans. On the House side, we have 106 Republicans, 74 Democrats. No flips as of right now. So again, Republicans, Colorado.
Such dumb people.
Let's check in with Fox real quick.
Oh my
and
God,
we'll end this
Emily.
last segment.
Enjoy.
Hey, but really quick before
Y'all
we
gotta
do,
chill.
because my team is going to kill me, and they were like, "You didn't do any of our advertisers." So really quick, I'm going to do this really fast. America First Leads. This is going to be a quick little ad. I want to take a moment and speak to all the America First Leads is a company that actually is one of our sponsors. We have two companies that are sponsoring this specific event, and it's America First Leads and America First Healthcare. And America First Leads is a company that is helping build the parallel economy. If you're a business owner or you're a self-employed individual looking to generate leads, you can go to americafirstleads.com. And as well, it is open enrollment. America First Healthcare is a new company, which we all actually work for. I am the CEO of America First Healthcare. I'm being a little biased here. But Give me the money.
Okay, I know that's right.
Show me the money. But America First Healthcare is a company that helps people kick the government out of their healthcare. And if you are looking for a new plan this open enrollment, there are new holistic plans that America First Healthcare offers. And you can go to americafirst.healthcare.com. You can get a free healthcare review. No obligation, no costs. All you got to go is to americafirst.healthcare.com, and you can speak. We have 50 team members working here in this exact building, and they were here and willing to help absolutely for free. If you want someone to guide you through the process for open enrollment, please check out americafirst.healthcare.com. All right.
And also, to that point, I did this. I went through y'all. I'm now paying half the price I was before.
Hey, half
Love
the price.
that.
Half the price. We'll take it.
Love
No,
to see
yeah.
it.
This is random. Do you know Jordan used to wear a do-rag?
Are you for real?
Oh my god.
I don't know why that just like dawned on me.
I saw the pictures of you and your
That's
man bun
crazy.
earlier.
That's crazy.
This
I had a man bun too, bro. I can't
facts.
say anything.
I wanted to be
Wow.
black.
I was like, support Jordan's black-owned business.
Not black on black crime,
Oh my
Okay.
but black on black
God.
businesses.
Oh my god, during BLM and Postmates, but like everything was just support black-owned businesses. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yep. No, I did wear, I told you that story?
Yeah.
I did wear a blue.
You volunteered that information when the first conversations we had. I was just like, okay.
That's rough.
I did.
I was like, okay, King.
Hey, man. Hey,
Go ahead.
black was pop. Black is pop.
Okay.
Anyways.
I know
Feel
that's
you.
right.
Feel you on that.
So we got about
Huh?
10 minutes left. And let's turn up the heat. So
You guys just say the word.
we are almost 3 hours in from all the polls closing. How are you guys feeling right now currently with the reports that we're receiving so far?
I'm good. I'm happy with stuff. No complaints.
I'm not stressed yet. Like I said, I'm just curious to see how that blue wall falls. And I don't know. Right now, I mean, nothing has gone not according to plan for either party right now, right?
Big dump for Wisconsin right now. We're at 32%. It was like at 10% before. 10,000 vote difference. It's like 49-48%. Kamala's winning by 1%.
So, yeah, I think we're about to start finding out a lot more.
That is what's going to happen. That's what we're watching. The big blue wall currently with Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania.
So how do we know we're not gonna have what happened like last time, where it's like overnight just
I'm staying up all night watching like a hawk because what they're not going to do
I know.
is have there be a big spike like
Yes.
there was last
Thank
time.
you.
'Cause
That's what I
saw it
said.
in real time.
Yeah, and also someone posted this today, but I don't know if it's true. It's from a conspiracy account, so maybe I won't. Quote
Maybe
it.
don't say it.
But
Just do
they
it.
were they literally said what happened last time with the mail-in ballots was statistically impossible. It wasn't possible.
Because for you to have this huge influx of an insane amount of votes that come in that are over 99% one way, be so for real.
Okay, this is literally what they said. They said never forget
votes.
between the hours of 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. in Pennsylvania, Joe Biden gained nearly 600,000 votes, which is statistically not accurate.
At all.
Georgia's got a new dump. We're
So-
almost 80% in. Trump is winning by 220,000 votes with 20%
Did you say 220,000?
220,000, little more than 220, with almost 80%, which still another dump. Yes, right around 200,000. So Georgia's coming in hot right now.
No, I'll stay
Just
up all
be
night with
careful. Stacey Abrams
Can
keeps
Trump
a
win
batch of
without
votes in her
Georgia?
teeth.
you. She flosses with the ballots.
That's the big. Can Trump win without Georgia? Is the big question.
I feel confident he's going to win Georgia. So my more concern is Pennsylvania. What is happening in Pennsylvania?
And
And
also,
Wisconsin.
to that point, hasn't it been decades since Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan have not voted together, right?
Yep.
Like they've all
That's
gone blue or
trivia
they've all
on me.
gone red. So, I mean, if that stays the same, then, I mean, it could be a blowout.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Pennsylvania is within 1% right now, so that's too close to call. Wisconsin currently within, we just got a big dump in Wisconsin, 0.1% difference. We're talking 2,000 votes with 34% in.
Wow. Make me
These
take a
need to
big
be
You
bigger.
really don't get any closer than that.
Yeah.
So, and then,
Oh, even Google says that Kamala Harris is on the floor.
Really?
wait, what does that even mean?
So
words.
Quit the ebonics, Xavier.
Ebonics is crazy. I'm Chinese. So Fox is saying 195 Trump, 117 Harris. Google is saying 188 Trump, 99 Harris per Associated Press. So Kamala Harris is really getting dragged by her lace front, but there's still a lot of states that we know are blue that are very big that she has not gotten yet added to her score.
Yeah, I
like
mean, obviously those
that.
polls all close later. So
yeah, I'm not going to get
in.
cocky about it. I feel like we're in a basketball game in the third quarter, so it's like we still got a lot ahead of us tonight. So, okay, can we talk about what we think is going to happen if either side wins? Like, do you think there's going to be riots if Trump wins, vice versa? Like, is this going to get ugly?
I think either way, it's getting ugly.
I'm going to be positive and say there's no riots either way.
No riots? You're better than me because I got a gun.
They riot over, I won't say it, but they riot over very little things.
Dead crackheads?
I don't think dead crackheads.
If Trump wins, I really don't see any riots happening if Trump ends up winning, even though...
Really?
Yeah, I'm sorry, if Trump loses.
Oh.
If Trump loses, I don't see any riots happening. We know what happened. People forget in 2016 when Trump won, like they had to call in the National Guard. They put in the fences up. People were trying to literally get into the White House when Trump won. I mean, you had mayhem all throughout Washington, D.C., and people just forgot. And then obviously you had the Summer of Love in 2020. But if Trump wins, if Trump loses...
Wait, people were trying, there was riots at the White House? Because clearly I am one of these people that have forgotten that.
No, in Washington, D.C., when Donald Trump won in 2016...
Say it with your chest.
We had massive riots. And this is the propaganda we were talking about earlier today. I'm being serious. That... And this is the biggest propaganda is the news that's not reported.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The biggest propaganda is the news that's not reported.
Clock the tea.
And do you remember when I don't remember when it was when DC when Ron Paul him and his wife were walking. This was in Washington D.C.
Oh, I know what
this
you're
wasn't
talking
right
about.
after. Was it when Trump won? That
No,
was
it was a little after that.
No,
right?
I don't know if it was when Trump won or they just won an election. And you had people literally running the streets all throughout Washington D.C. And when Biden won, yes, obviously we had January 6th, but you did not have people destroying businesses. You didn't have people destroying communities. You saw that throughout the entire country when Trump did win. So I don't think if Trump loses, does it deserve riots? I think the policies and what we'll see in the future will honestly tell us what ends up happening. But I don't think we'll see riots if Trump ends up losing. If Trump wins, I think we'll see riots. I think Washington D.C. is boarding up the windows right now.
Riots or protests?
Both.
I don't care about a protest. I care about riots.
Why is Washington D.C. boarding up the windows right now?
Yeah,
why?
Why
it
is
ain't
that?
because conservatives are not in D.C.
No. That's true.
They're
That's
not.
actually funny.
No, they're not. Washington
Good
D.C. is
point.
90% liberal. So, and you know, the Martin Luther Street. I mean, we've seen. If you ever been to D.C., you know, you don't walk down that street with a MAGA hat. I've been to D.C. before.
Yeah.
If Trump wins, they're boarding up those windows for a possible Trump win, not a Trump loss. So I don't think we don't see riots because conservatives don't take action unless their family feels threatened.
Yeah.
Versus on the other side,
They just love to burn stuff.
it's Minnesota.
No, literally. Have you seen the
Portland.
meme? Have you literally seen the meme where it's the little thing and it's and it has vaccines in it. It has a trans flag
The
and all these
NPC.
different things. And it's
Vaccine.
it's like, can I riot yet? That's literally them. That's literally them. And then it's they're on a leash. They want a reason to literally riot.
I also think that, to your point, you said conservatives don't riot unless their family is threatened. I think that a lot of leftists believe that they are being threatened for things that we would not deem as a threat because we're thinking
Because
rationally.
everything's a threat to
Words,
them.
literally words.
Words
Yeah.
are a hate crime to them.
Yeah.
But no, it's true. It's so funny because I was it's the party of peace, love, and tolerance that people talk about us not accepting. People talk about us not accepting things that happen, and I'm you guys are the ones that don't accept things that happen. You are not ready for Trump to be president. You do not want it to happen, and you're going to try to deny it, and you're going to try to riot and do all these things. So sorry.
Well-
don't talk about an insurrection. Get out of here.
Right
with
now,
that.
as it's 10 o'clock, we got Trump at 195, Kamala 117, and Georgia.
Wench.
the Trump lead has expanded a little bit more with almost 80% in. North Carolina, Trump is winning by almost 200,000. Virginia, Trump is winning as well. Again, as we end this live stream, and we got a new election alert, let's actually go to Fox really quick.
Let's go to it.
As we end this live stream, we love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And let's get this last Fox News update as we end the night.
Candidates have spent a lot of time in Nevada.
Fox News can project that former President Trump will win the state of Utah, adding another 6 votes, electoral votes, to his column. He'll also win Montana's presidential election. We're looking closely at that Senate race out there.
Ad lib. Oh.
Yes, you will.
I just did that. All right, so let's take a look at some of the places that are too early to call, and let's get you an update on the total count. President Trump at 205 right now, 117 for Harris, and waiting on Georgia, waiting on North Carolina, waiting on Pennsylvania, waiting on Michigan. And, just keep in mind that in all these places, there's a lot of city vote, a lot of high population concentrated vote that has not come in yet. The question is whether or not that vote, when it does come in, will be enough to outbalance what we have seen in the early part of this vote here.
Montana, as we mentioned, also home to this pivotal Senate race. Longtime rural Democratic Senator John Tester in the political fight of his life this time. He survived it before, but this time Republican former Navy SEAL Tim Sheehy putting up a real fight and may win. The Fox News decision desk says it's too early to call there. Nevada also home, too early to call, to this Senate race between incumbent Democratic Senator Jackie Rosen and Republican Army veteran Sam Brown.
But in Utah, Fox News is projecting the Republican Congressman John Curtis will move to the Senate. He succeeds retiring Senator Mitt Romney of Utah. Let's take a look at the balance of power as we pull up the Senate here and show you where we are at 10:01 in the evening. Republicans now have 48 seats, including the West Virginia seat, which is a flip. Majority obviously would be 51. 38 seats on the Democratic side as we wait for a number of very consequential Senate races to come in here this evening.
Well, welcome to the panel, Laura Ingraham. Sean Hannity is still here. Jesse Waters. Jesse, what are you thinking?
Well, if this was a cannonball contest, Trump would be winning by a lot because of the huge splash in Florida. I mean, he beat Biden by 3, and now he's at almost 14 over Harris. That's a big statement right out of the gate. She has not had a big statement so far tonight. The other big splash, Virginia. Now, we don't know how Virginia is going to shake out, but Biden won Virginia by 10, and now it's tied. Obviously, it's too close to call, but right now she's playing defense. The Trump team is very confident that Georgia and North Carolina are going to go their way, and Harris is going to have to play defense in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. You're hearing Trump doubling his black support in Wisconsin, ahead with young voters in Michigan, and in Pennsylvania winning independents. And they say the math doesn't work in Philadelphia County. So who knows what's going to happen? Still too early to call, but you definitely think the Trump team has momentum here.
Laura, Virginia, you were talking about earlier. We'll put up the big board about Virginia and show that race. There you see the 50% to 48.3. 61% in. Too soon to call for us.
Well, this is wild. Remember, Trump didn't come anywhere near these numbers in 2016 or 2020. The Loudoun County numbers that we were talking about earlier are really something to watch. Trump is outperforming by 8 points in Loudoun County. It was a blowout in 2020. Big issue with education there. The other thing to look at, and Glenn Youngkin, I've been in touch with him, he said, buckle up, Virginia is going to be very tight. Then go down to Miami-Dade, where we haven't seen a Republican take that county in Florida since 1988. Donald Trump is doing something tonight. The New York Times is noticing he's up at 287 electoral votes projected. Obviously, anything can happen, with a 72% chance of winning. Watch out for slowing vote reporting down in the blue wall states. It happened last time in 2020. And if by midnight it looks like Trump has a good chance to win and things start slowing down with reporting, I think you can't really blame people for being a little bit concerned about the way we do reporting in elections.
Yeah.
I have more of a question, actually, for Laura, if that's okay, if it's permitted.
On Loudoun County.
Yes.
In Loudoun County, can you talk to what is the issue? Is it the economy or is it the cultural issues?
Yeah.
We've been having a little debate.
I think the cultural issues cut through the new immigrant population in Loudoun County. There's an enormous influx of Indian immigrants, Hispanic immigrants, and Muslim immigrants in Loudoun County. And if you talk to them, and some reporting has been done on this, a couple of issues of the gender curriculum, some of the trans issues, but also in general, just this idea that the new immigrants coming to this country want to be able to start small businesses and make a decent living.
And
I think both issues are really hitting hard tonight.
And Loudoun County is the kind of place where you'd think it might be fertile ground for Democrats almost in perpetuity because of where it is. It's in the exurbs of Washington, but it is very close to that huge number of people who work in the Dulles Technology Corridor. And that looks like the kind of place, young, tech-savvy people who would be prone generally to vote Democrat. And the fact that it seems to be going the way it is tonight is I think,
a lot of credit
telling.
to Glenn Youngkin and obviously Donald Trump for the way that state was handled. They were smart to go there late in the game.
It's interesting to look at Virginia, and sometimes these things sort of take hold over a period of time, right? So Glenn Youngkin won his very close race, all about education, really, against Terry McAuliffe and parents' rights. But then in the midterms, Virginia did not get the seats that they wanted to get, and Youngkin was sort of trying to get them over that edge. So if this does, and then we're, can't call it obviously yet, if it turns into a win for Trump tonight, it will be a very big sign.
Even close, Martha.
And we have not called North Carolina.
We have not called it yet, nor Georgia.
But I'm sure there are good reasons for that, but others have.
I understand. Harold?
Do we know what's outstanding in Virginia?
Let's just talk to Bill Hemmer because he's at the wall.
Yeah, I can do that for you. Don't mind me. This is Roanoke County. Why do I have that on the screen? That's Salem, Virginia. That's where Trump went for the rally the other day with Glenn Youngkin. Okay, so as you guys were talking here, all right, so this is part of our Fox Insights. Anytime we see an outline here, we go in Loudoun County. We've mentioned this, right? Now, this is a 16-point advantage for Kamala Harris. You've almost got all the estimated vote in right now, and Trump's doing 3.4 points better now, with 98% of the vote reporting, than he did in 2020. So that's pretty interesting. The other thing I would point out while I'm here is Fairfax County. All right, so you're almost at 2/3 of the vote in. This is where all the people are, right? Number one out of 133. Biden was an easy winner at 70% of the vote. So right now, across from Washington, D.C., she's underperforming in the most populated county in the entire state. Did you have something else there?
Do you have a question?
Gotcha.
No.
Okay, Carolina. Go ahead, guys.
So the Virginia, is that the biggest county, Fairfax County? Is there another big county out? Because the campaigns are saying they've got big votes still out in Virginia. They still believe that they...
I tell you what I'll do, Harold. I'll cheat for a second here and go back to Virginia. It seems as if Kamala Harris is doing better in the southeastern part than was expected, okay? So there's still some vote out there, some still vote coming in, and we'll see whether or not that holds up. Let me zip on down to Carolina. And Britt, I think you said some folks had called Carolina already. We've got about 70% of the vote in, and we've got Trump up,
4 points. 4 points.
Yeah,
right?
almost 185,000 raw votes. And I don't know what's going on here. Why don't we just poke around some of the bigger counties, okay? This is Wake, this is Raleigh. You got to look there, 3/4 of the vote in. She's got a firm lead down here in Mecklenburg and Charlotte. A firm lead yet again, but there's 80% of the estimated votes still yet to be tallied, so maybe that's the reason why we cannot call it. This is a flipper down here. This is New Hanover. You find Wilmington along the Atlantic shore. You've only got 5% of the vote in down there. This is one of those areas of the country that's turning more blue. You got a lot of transplants from the Northeast moving down into Wilmington. You also got a lot of folks from the Northeast going into places like Brunswick County. Brunswick County is deep in the red. Donald Trump's going to win here tonight by 66% upwards of the vote down there. Got a lot of folks from New Jersey and New York and Pennsylvania. They're moving down to places like Brunswick County because they love the weather, they love the beaches, and it's not as expensive as Florida. And they've seen an awful lot of growth in this part of the state. So here's where we are. Too soon to call, but Donald Trump right now up by almost 5 points in Carolina. Go for it, Martha.
Let's take a look at Pennsylvania, which is tightening up considerably. And in the presidential race and in the Senate race. Show us what's going on there.
You're exactly right about that. Okay, so there's about half of the vote being counted. You remember that chart I showed you a moment ago? The chart I showed you a moment ago? They count the mail-in vote first in Pennsylvania. It tends to be more Democratic. As we saw in 2020, we're seeing that again in 2024. All right, you got about a 1.4 margin there. Raw votes just shy of 50,000. So let's go for a spin, shall we? Philadelphia, let's start there. It is number one. Come on, let's go here. All right, here we go. This is the kind of margin you expect to get in Philadelphia. You got 8 or 9 out of 10 voters are Democratic, right? So Joe Biden was well over 80%. It's interesting, right? So she's just a tick below that right now. Does Philadelphia vote the way that Milwaukee votes, right? We saw that difference in Milwaukee a short time ago. Is Philadelphia going to vote differently than Wayne County and Detroit? We're waiting to get that in as well. These are the collar counties. They're heavily blue. I would expect them to change somewhat, but we'll see as we go through the night. Just to check the bellwether here. This is Northampton. That's about as close as you get, guys. Difference of 300 votes, 303. Biden barely won it by 1,200 just 4 years ago. So that's where we are at the moment.
What about Pittsburgh?
Back on over to you, Allegheny County. Let's see where we are. A lot of the vote came in from Pittsburgh early on.
71, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you're 71 coming. That's right. And she's at 61%. Both you guys watched it, right? How many rallies did Trump have there? How many times did Kamala Harris go to the west side of Pennsylvania? This is a place I want to check out. I haven't done it yet. Let's find out together. This is Butler County. All right, where were you on July 13th? Here we go. You got 94% coming in, just shy of 66%. So how did Trump do in a rural county like Butler 4 years ago, before the assassination attempt, right, this past year? It was almost around the same number, okay, up 36,000 to finish it 4 years ago. Right now, he's up 34,000 in Butler, PA.
Let me bring our prime folks in. Laura, what are you looking at?
Well, I just think it's interesting to look at these states that we kind of had looked past in our analysis. We're always focused on the blue wall states, obviously so important, but signs that Trump may be outperforming in ways that we hadn't expected, bubbling up in places like New Mexico, where it's only 23% of the vote in, mind you, tons of votes outstanding. But he looks like he's outperforming there. He's up now 6 points with that small turnout. Again, the New York Times gives him a 79% chance of winning this election at this point, with leaning North Carolina, leaning Republican in Georgia. If those trends continue, it's all those 3 states where it's neck and neck. Right now, it's neck and neck in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So I hope they can model themselves in the future on what Florida has done so brilliantly with Ron DeSantis. 96% of the vote in, and it's handled beautifully with absentee, mail-in vote. They just seem to do it in Florida. Why can't we do it in these other states?
Yeah, it's a great
crazy
question. Most of us grew up with, you voted in the morning.
Same day.
Parents voted in the morning, and then you went home and got the answer that night. We've gone from 96 million voters when Fox News started to 160 probably million tonight, somewhere in that neighborhood.
And by the way, all of them watched Brett's interview with Kamala. I don't think
absolutely
nobody missed that.
So how much has voting changed, I guess, is what I'm getting at here, Sean, because we have this enormous early vote of 83 million.
It's so interesting you asked that question, because everything's kind of flipped. Republicans went in today with a lead that had never happened before. And it put the Democrats in a position mathematically where they had to accomplish something they'd never accomplished before, and that is to get same-day voters at numbers that they've never gotten before. And this is where we now find it. If I am correct in my belief, and my sources are right, and North Carolina, I'm almost 100% certain will be Donald Trump's. And Georgia, I believe, Harold and I have been going back and forth on this, will go to Donald Trump. Now, Arizona has been trending very strong towards Donald Trump. I don't know how long it'll take them to count the votes out